Hello and welcome to my channel. Welcome to another tarot reading from me. And today's topic is going to be finally about predictions for 2026. Well, I know it's about time, but most of the year is still ahead of us. It is February 24th when I start recording this. It probably will take a bit until I upload it, but like I said, most of the year is ahead of us, and hopefully everybody who comes across this reading will be able to get some valuable insights and make the most of the information and the advice that I get through Spirit for you, okay? As usual, I want to start by saying that I have chosen the crystals intuitively, so I have chosen these crystals from my collection by meditating upon the question of which crystals should I choose for this particular topic. And these are the ones that stood out for this topic in this particular order. So for those of you who want to choose with just crystals, these are your options. Pile number 1, you have this jade crystal. Pile number 2, let me try to put it in a nice position. Pile number 2, you have this smoky quartz crystal. All right. Focus. Yeah, there it is. Pile number 3, you have this ruby and zoisite crystal. All right. So these are your options for those of you, like I said, who want to choose with just crystals. Pile number 1, number 2, number 3, you can pause the video, take some time to meditate upon the question. You can also ask more specific questions if you want, but try to keep them, on topic, and just try to think of questions that would be answered by something like, what is 2026 going to bring you, what to expect, etc. You can also ask about more specific advice, but yeah, try not to be like super specific, and definitely don't ask about a particular person. I would not recommend that with these kinds of readings, because they're meant to be more general, not like, let's say, romantically inclined. But of course, if there are messages about romance, you will get them through the reading anyway. So yeah, these are your options. Take some moments, meditate upon the question with your eyes closed. As usual, my recommendation is that you take some moments, take some deep breaths, exhale longer than you inhale. Let your mind go blank a little bit with your eyes closed, calm down, and then open your eyes and choose the first pile that stands out to you intuitively without overthinking. If you feel drawn to more than one crystal, of course, feel free to watch 2 or even all 3 of them and just take whichever messages resonate. I will see you at your reading. So this is for those of you who want to choose with a card as well as a crystal. This is going to be the selection of the Oracle card, and I'm going to take the Oracle of Mystical Moments, which I have not used in a long time, but I really like. Yeah, so let's see. Pile number 1. Tell me, Spirit, about pile number 1. What is going to come towards them in 2026? The Jade pile, the people who chose the Jade crystal. Okay, I'm going to flip it over straight up. Straight up now, tell me, is it gonna be you and me forever? Oh, oh, oh. Sorry, my brain just, makes connections to, like, all kinds of stuff that comes up whenever I say something or think of something. Anyway, Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. People who chose the smoky quartz. What will the year 2026 have in store for them? Ooh. Okay, Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. Sorry, I can't help it. Please tell me about pile number 3, Spirit. This Ruby and Zoisite group. What will 2026 bring for them? Oh, I need to shut up, really, because, yeah. Anyway, so these are your cards, all right? Let me put them up. Pile number 1, you have this card, the Observer. Number 50. Pile number 2, you have this card, My Dear Friend. And pile number 3, you have this card, Elixir of Life. All right. This is for those of you who want to choose with a card as well as a crystal. And now I'm going to zoom in a bit. All right, so this is for those of you who want to choose with a card as well as a crystal. Pile number 1, you have this card over here and or this jade crystal. Pile number 2, you have this card over here and or this smoky quartz crystal. All right. Pile number 3, you have this card over here and or this ruby and zoisite crystal. Okay, so I will mention this once again. I have said this in other videos. I think it is fascinating how often, the cards match the crystal. So as I mentioned in the beginning, for those of you who had the patience to listen from the beginning, I choose the crystals intuitively and then I select the card. I mean, you can watch the selection process for the card in the previous section, in the previous timestamps. But what I am trying to say is that it is just fascinating to me how whenever I choose a card, it really seems to match the colors of the crystals and even the vibes of the crystals, of course. Like, I don't know, it just seems to me like it matches. You see here, like we have green, we have a green crystal. We have gray here, kind of like cold gray colors and brown colors. And we have the smoky quartz, which is kind of like brown gray. Well, it's predominantly gray, but it kind of looks brown in this light. And then we have this like red and dark green. And look, this one has red and dark green, this crystal. So like, it's really fascinating to me how often I will see that, you know, the cards match the crystals. Like, I really think there is a correlation. And I definitely take it as confirmation that spirit is listening and that the vibes are vibing, you know what I mean? But anyway, yes, these are your options. Just as a reminder, my recommendation is that you take some moments to meditate upon the question. You can also ask more specific questions, but try to keep them compatible to the general theme of predictions for 2026. You can maybe ask more specific things and see if you are drawn to one of the piles. If you ask a question and you really, let's say you ask a different question, like, I don't know, what job am I going to get in 2026, and you feel like you're not drawn to any pile, that's probably a sign that you're meant to stick to the, you know, original question of what is 2026 going to bring for me, or what predictions or what advice can you tell me about 2026. You know, any one of these would work basically. But yeah, so my recommendation is you take some moments, allow your mind to go blank, take some deep breaths, exhale longer than you inhale, and then open your eyes and choose the first pile that stands out to you intuitively without overthinking. If you feel drawn to more than one, of course, you are free to watch several or even all of them, and just take whichever messages resonate. Before I sign off, I will remind you, of course, to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. It is the easiest way to support me, and it is free. Consider clicking on the notifications bell if you want to see when I will upload a new video. And of course, comment in the comment section with any feedback you would like to give for this topic. Feel free to come back actually throughout the year of 2026 and maybe even later and see how it stood the test of time. All right, I will see you at your reading. So welcome pile number 1. This is your reading if you have chosen this card, number 50, Observer, and or this jade crystal. So this is going to be the card selection phase. I'm going to add timestamps so you can skip through this if you're not interested, because I will be taking my time. All right. So let's see. Which card should I start with? Yeah, I'm going to start with these. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1, the jade pile. What will the year 2026 bring for them? All right. So I trust you can see the cards. Yeah. 2 of Cups, Page of Swords, Knight of Pentacles, 4 of Cups, 3 of Swords, the Star. Okay. Let's see some more cards. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What does the year 2026 have in store for them? Ooh. Ooh. Pile. Oh my gosh. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Can you see what I see? I don't remember where that song was from. But y'all, wait, let me just, let me move the camera so you can see the cards. All right, so look at this. Look at this, pile number 1. The Lovers and the Two of Cups twice. You got the Two of Cups twice. Oh, yeah. So, like, if you had questions about romance, there's definitely some stuff about romance here. I'm not sure exactly what. I'm not going to get overly enthusiastic just yet. But I'm going to see as I start to unpack these, basically. But, yeah, Two of Cups coming out twice. Death in support. Oh, my. And the Lovers. I mean, the Cups, Two of Cups and the Lovers underneath. Are you kidding, y'all? Anyway, like I said, this is just a selection. So let me get some more oracle cards, okay? Let's see. What will the year 2026 bring for pile number 1? Oh my God. Y'all, I cannot. Okay, it's already like game over, you know what I mean? Like, Spirit is not even being subtle. Like, pace yourself, Spirit, please. I'm trying to have fun over here with some readings, but Spirit is not even being cryptic on this one. It's like Two of Cups twice, the Lovers, and the Love card. I cannot. All right, pile number 1. Oh, lordy lord. Anyway, let me get some more oracle cards because, you know, I want to get as many messages as possible. So let's see. Spirit, what's coming? What is coming in pile number 1's life in the year 2026? Education, okay. Number 12, okay. So we have more diversity here. We also have some of you who are getting educated. You're not just getting it on. I'm just saying, not judging. All right, let's see. Tell me about pile number 1, Spirit. What is coming towards them in 2026? Ooh, okay. So this one is contrasting here. Solitude, okay. Contrasting. And let's get some more. Let's see. What else do we have here? Spirit, tell me what is coming towards pile number 1 in the year 2026. Polar Bear Ancestors, number 26. Interesting. This guy means business, all right? We have the number 26 there, which boils down to a number 8 in numerology. So that's Saturn energy, all right? Interesting. We have love and solitude and ancestors. Everything is just lining up. All right. And now let me read the description for this card, the Observer, from the booklet. Let's see, what does it say? Patience, awareness, focus. A woman is looking through an old-fashioned camera, ready to take a photograph. She observes the landscape before her. All is quiet, all is peaceful. We don't know how long this woman has been waiting for the perfect shot. Oh, I'm already getting the messages coming in, pile number 1. Anyway, she has the patience to remain focused until the decisive moment presents itself. Strength lies in her calmness. She lives in the present and does not easily get distracted. Oh, pile number 1. Oh my gosh. So many strong messages already. I haven't even started to unpack it. Oh my gosh, yeah. So, one message that I can tell you right off the bat, I mean, look at this. This is beautiful. It is beautiful. I'm sorry if I sound like Donald Trump. It's beautiful. But we have Two of Cups, the Lovers. All right. Clarify. So we have the Two of Cups came out twice for you. But one of them is in opposition. Look at this. And not only that, not only is it in opposition, but it's clarifying the Knight of Pentacles. It's underneath the Knight of Pentacles. And I'm going to unpack that as I go along more, right? Then we have the Three of Swords. We have the Seven of Pentacles here. which seems contradicting, right? So we seemingly have contradicting energies here because we have Three of Swords, which is kind of heartbreak and stuff. And we have the Two of Cups coming out twice. We have the Lovers. And we have, on the other hand, Solitude. We also have Love again here. Number 28, Love. Okay. We have Ancestors on this card. We have Education on this one. And we have Solitude. Oh, let me also read the description for this one. Once you embrace the inner divine and your own sacred solitude, the right people arrive at the right time, exactly on schedule, without forcing or chasing. And notice the symmetry between this card's message and what I just read about the Observer. It's very aligned, pretty much. It's like the same message, which is basically you're trying too hard and you're worrying too much about finding love. This is one message that I'm getting right off the bat. The Observer also, I mean, the Observer together with Education, together with the Seven of Pentacles here, makes me think that this year is actually about you growing tremendously in your potential with respect to your career. And your need, according to Spirit, to focus on this progress. Focus on working on your craft and your own personal interests. And then we also have Love and Ancestors, okay? One of them is number 28, the other one is number 26. So this is number 28 boils down to a number 1. It's ruled by the Sun. And then we have 26 boils down to a number 8. It's ruled by Saturn. This is like a balancing between your individuality, your self-expression, your destiny, number 1, the Sun, and the duty towards your family, maybe even your family lineage, some karmic things happening in this year, you know, ancestors. And if you look at this with Love, it's like she kind of looks like a widow in a way, you know, because even though she's not dressed in black, I mean, the implication here is that this painting is of someone she loved. And if it's a painting, it kind of makes me think that this is someone she lost, you know. So I'm getting kind of like a Ketu energy here. And also, we also have the number 8 here again. And we have the number 8 here, 26. So number 8 is ruled by Saturn. And it really makes me think of either the 8th house, it is possible, which is connected to Scorpio, which is more Ketu energy, which is kind of like, this is going to sound cheesy, but it could be that you are about to come really close to healing some ancestral karmas. And it's more like your entire bloodline depends on you clearing some stuff out this year. And I know that sounds dramatic, but I really think for some of you, this is the case. And or at the same time, number 8 could be Saturn, which means that you're going to have to work hard, you know, and you really have to focus on profession in this year, you know, really have to focus on developing your skills, your abilities, you know, growing in your career. And I feel like that's really tying into your destiny, basically. So let me unpack what I see here step by step. So we have the Two of Cups, we have the Lovers. So this is your current state, pile number 1, okay? So what this tells me is you got love on the brain, you know, just like Rihanna. Wasn't that the song's name? I think that's what it was, Love on the Brain. That's you right now, okay? So you could be in a very romantic state. Maybe some of you are actually in a romantic relationship. What I can definitely see is that you are potentially infatuated, or you're about to become infatuated. It could be that you're about to meet someone, or you met someone in recent history. Or again, you could be meeting someone throughout the year because the year is long. But it looks to me like, you know, there will be someone who catches your eye in 2026, and this might even show an opportunity to start a relationship, all right? Then we have the Page of Swords and the Death, okay? So here is more Scorpio energy. Death is an energy of transformation. Page of Swords is about mercurial energy. It's about intellectual energy, okay? And it's about curiosity. it's kind of a mixture between, you know, a pupil, like a young student, and on the other hand, kind of a Peter Pan energy that can be scattered and, you know, chase whatever is shiny and new. So I feel like with the death energy here, clarifying the Page of Swords, this is showing me that what's going to support you throughout 2026 is an energy of transformation of your thought processes, you know. So for some of you, this could actually be that your beliefs are going to change throughout the year 2026. But I think for the most part, it doesn't necessarily have to deal with beliefs. It has to deal with disciplining your mind. All right. Because we have that that double message actually through the oracle cards of you kind of focusing on your own thing, you know, and trusting that things are going to fall into place, right? Not fretting about things that you cannot control, such as, you know, whether you're going to meet the right person, or maybe also fretting over other relationships, you know. So anything that is not within your immediate control should not be something that you are overly concerned with, because your job is to focus on the things you can control, staying true to yourself, focusing on studying, focusing, again, for some of you, maybe you're actually students. For some of you, this could be about learning new things about yourself. Maybe it's about self-discovery, self-awareness, you know, reaching a higher level of self-control by the end of the year, right? Irrespective, actually, of who you are and what point in life you are at, this year is about you learning that you are the master of your destiny, okay? Because look at this. We have the Star and the Magician in the outcome, okay? The outcome of 2026. I'm going to jump straight to the end and tell you, because I'm too excited to wait, that this is going to show you're going to be the king of your castle, basically, if you play everything right. And again, you handle your business instead of getting distracted by every bright, shiny new thing. And again, this is something that, again, maybe it's not strictly from the cards, but it does come across as a potential situation based on what I'm seeing in the cards, that I think maybe some of you are the types that you get infatuated too quickly, because again, with all these love and relationship cards, I have to assume that, you know, many of you really have love on the brain, and, you know, maybe you are anxious to find a new person, or again, some of you could already be infatuated with a specific person, but maybe this is not someone that is serious, or, you know, someone who, I don't know, maybe keeps you hanging on, or maybe someone that doesn't even know you yet, but you are kind of, you know, projecting your fantasies on them or something. So my advice would be, based on these cards, to avoid wasting time on that. All right. Of course, it doesn't mean you have to totally control your feelings on a regular basis. Whatever, it can be nice to be infatuated. Just write a poem about it, or whatever. Write a entry in your diary about it, and just set it out to the universe and leave it be. But don't over obsess about it. Especially, do not try to control things that are just beyond your control, such as other people's behaviors, right? And then we have the Knight of Pentacles and the Two of Cups, and this is the opposition here. Now, this is a more specific message that, again, I feel I have to say, but it's definitely not for all of you, but especially for those of you who recognize a pattern when I'm about to say this, right, with respect to your relationships, or maybe if this resonates with a current romantic situation, this is definitely a specific message for you. Namely, the fact that you should stop having a fixer attitude when it comes to your romantic relationships, okay? So I feel like some of you here are the type of people that maybe on a regular basis, like in, you know, day-to-day life, or when it comes to your work or your career or how you take care of, you know, daily chores, maybe you're a very hardworking, disciplined, organized person. Could be. I'm not saying it's everyone. But irrespective, right, of how you are about chores, when it comes to relationships, you have this attitude of, if I just try hard enough, right, if I impatient enough, if I wait for this person to change their mind, or if I put in enough effort in this relationship, right, that somehow it's gonna work, even when the other person maybe shows you repeated signs that they're not as invested in the relationship, or there are just no real reasons really from an objective perspective to believe that this person will feel the same way about you, or you just see that they're not as invested, they're not as willing to make a relationship work. So I feel like you have this attitude of like, if I just try hard enough. I would not be surprised, by the way, if many of you had strong Saturn energy, because this does sound like a lot of Saturn energy. And for those of you who are curious, especially if you come from my astrology channel, by the way, it's called Astro Martine, but I will be linking it in the description if you're curious. I have a video on my channel, especially if you're someone who has prominent Saturn placements. I would recommend watching it. It's basically about, it's called The Truth About Saturn and Saturnians in Relationships. And I actually describe this dynamic in particular, that a lot of people who are Saturn dominant, as far as I've seen over many years of reading horoscopes, they have this kind of attitude where they might even purposefully be drawn to relationships that seem like they're difficult, like they're a challenge and they require a lot of work, because they are used to hardships, they're used to getting things the hard way, and they're used to being disciplined and the idea that they have to put effort into anything that works. And so they keep thinking that if they just put in enough effort, right, anything can work in the end. But when it comes to relationships, that doesn't really apply, because no matter how hard you work, at best you can cover 50% of the relationship. The other 50% has to come from the other person. And if the other person does not pull their weight, well, you're basically just dragging a corpse around, right? So again, ending this whole parenthesis, like I said, I don't think this is for everyone, but I did feel it as a strong message. So it's probably at least a few of you that need to hear this, all right? Aside from that, though, if this does not resonate with you at all, there is another potential interpretation. The Knight of Pentacles, clarified by the Two of Cups, could actually play out in a similar way, but not in the similar way in the sense that you could also be motivated by love, but you choose to go about getting it in a different way. So in this situation, it's not that you're going to try to make a relationship work no matter how disinterested the other person is, but rather that you may try to alter your, maybe even your entire life trajectory and or your personality, hoping that if you behave in a specific way, like let's say, especially with the Knight of Pentacles, which has this very kind of steady, again, potentially Saturnian energy, but with the Knight of Pentacles, there's this vibe of like slow and steady wins the race, you know, so it's a very kind of unimaginative in a way, and very conventional approach to things. So the fact that it's backed up by the Two of Cups makes me think that maybe you're the kind of person that thinks that, hey, if I tick every box, you know, like if let's say if you're a woman, you're thinking, once I get rid of the cellulite off my butt, I'm gonna find the perfect partner, right? Or like, if I make myself as conventionally attractive as possible, I will meet the perfect partner. Or I don't know, like you read books about what men find attractive or something, and you're thinking, well, if I start wearing more dresses and I act more feminine, I'm gonna attract the right partner. So you might, in other words, be the kind of person that tends towards being disingenuous or like inauthentic, right? Not disingenuous necessarily on purpose, but inauthentic, right? Like somehow you might end up sacrificing parts of yourself, hoping that, you know, if you portray yourself in a way that is conventionally attractive, that you're gonna find the right person, or you're gonna find the love that you need. And obviously, the fact that this shows in opposition, right, whichever one of these two scenarios that I talked about may sound more like you. I'm not saying they're the only two scenarios, but these are the two main ones that I see. So regardless of which one is more like you, the point is that this approach is not really working in your favor. It's acting against you. It's against your progress in 2026. And probably I would venture to say that it's not just a 2026 thing, that this is probably been a long-lasting pattern, okay? So Spirit is clearly telling you that if you are in any way behaving like the way that I described, you kind of need to learn to ditch that. You need to move away from that. Because again, if you are consciously or subconsciously trying to, let's say, turn yourself into a cookie cutter mold, hoping that, oh, you're going to find someone attractive or someone who's going to find you attractive, ultimately what you're going to get is not going to be a genuine relationship, right? It's going to be someone who is attracted to the image that you project, not your true self. All right? So there's this message of like being authentic to and being true to yourself. But I'm going to see more about that as I get into the astrological notes as well. I'm very curious. So we have the Four of Cups and we have the King of Wands here. Okay. And this is the past. Now, past could be recent past. It could be long patterns that have repeated over many years in your life. But what I see here actually with you, the main message that I'm getting actually is that a lot of you could have been very kind of narrow. I hate to say this, but kind of narrow-minded. Okay, maybe narrow-minded is kind of harsh, but intolerant. That's also pretty harsh, but what can I say? Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. But yeah, you... What do I mean by this? Okay, so like the Four of Cups is about discernment, right? So it is about not saying yes to things just because, you know, because, I don't know, you feel obligated socially or because you feel like you need to make the most of every opportunity, etc., etc. So I feel like, in other words, you have a pattern of actually being discerning, you know, because of that King of Wands. So I feel like you're the kind of person that has your eyes on the prize. And going hand in hand actually with the rest of the cards here, I feel like what Spirit is trying to tell you is that you have always had, even if maybe on the surface you are not 100% clear on this, or maybe you're a bit confused about this, but you have always had a very strong inner compass. Like if you actually stop to look at your behavior, for instance, I'm pretty sure that you're not the kind of person that has said yes to things just to impress others, or, you know, like you have, I don't think that actually, contrary to what this message about the Knight of Pentacles, so I feel like this may have been definitely been the case when it came to how you attracted romantic partners. Like you could have tried to portray yourself in a way that is more conventional than you actually are. But when it comes to like your overall personality and life trajectory, this Four of Cups clarified by King of Wands is telling me that you're actually deep down a pretty no-nonsense person who has always had, maybe, or at least has had for a very long time, a clear vision or a clear feeling, you know, of a goal that you wanted to achieve, all right? So I feel like Spirit is just giving you kind of like a kind reminder that, hey, you know who you are, all right? You know that this is your core. And again, we have the King of Wands. Like I said, we have the Magician with the number 1. We also have the Jupiterian here with the number 12. But we also have number 1 here. And we also have number 1 here because 28 boils down to a number 1. And number 1 is the energy of the sun. Okay. So number 1 in numerology is ruled by the sun. This is the planet that is connected to Leo. It rules Leo and it corresponds to the 5th house. So it's very much connected to authenticity, self-love, self-expression, heart chakra. So what I'm seeing here is that you're someone who has a strong fire, potentially strong sun and or Leo energy and or 5th house energy. And you could be someone who actually has a very strong personality, but maybe over time you have gotten sidetracked, or maybe there were times when you have had insecurities, right? And you kind of lost track of who you really were, maybe in more recent times, I feel, you know, because again, this shows up in the past. So I feel like Spirit is telling you, remember who you are, you know, remember what you wanted to achieve and keep your eyes on the prize in 2026, because again, you're going to have an opportunity or multiple opportunities to see major progress in life by the end of this year. And then we have the 3 of Swords and we have the 7 of Pentacles. So having in view the rest here, I feel like this Three of Swords is very telling, all right? Having in view the rest of the spread, I mean. And this is in action. Oh, we have the Seven of Pentacles underneath. So I have to say, it could be, and again, this really makes me think of matters of the heart, considering the rest of the spread, you know? So for some of you, again, more specifically, if there is a person on your mind that you are infatuated with, or you've been in a situationship with, for some of you, again, I'm not saying it's for everyone, but there could be some disappointment happening, or like there could be some ending of ideals here, or like, you know, dreams of romance that might be shattered, basically. But we have the Seven of Pentacles. So hold on, I want to get some clarifications here. Spirit, please clarify the Three of Swords. I just want to get some more. Holy shit. Holy shit. Three of Swords clarified by Three of Swords. Okay, we get it. Heartbreak. All right. All right. Heartbreak Motel. I don't know why I'm getting that in my head. By Elvis. Please clarify the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Cups. We have more seven. Y'all, the number 7, I have to say it. I did want to say it from the beginning, but again, I didn't want to like seem too negative having in view these, you know, these, cards here, because some of them, the Three of Swords twice, I have to say, pile number 1, all right? This year is not going to be without challenges, but what I actually see here is with the Three of Swords in action, clarified by Seven of Pentacles and then clarified by Seven of Cups, is that your heartbreak, okay, this disappointment that you're going to go through, and I really think that, you know, I have to say it, all right, I have to tell it like it is. There will be some degree of disappointment, disillusionment, sorry. Now, this could actually be about romance, but not for all of you. This could also be about something else, you know, it could be something about like a career project that didn't work out, that's not going to work out as the way that you wanted, right? Or, I don't know, you're not going to get a certain project that you wanted, or a certain job that you wanted. But what I see here with the Three of Swords, like I said, clarified by the Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Cups, is that you will use this heartbreak, this disappointment, as a strong motivator to move forward, all right? And look at this. By the end of the year, this is the ultimate outcome of the year. You have the Star and the Magician. So like I said, by the end of the year, you will actually feel way more in control of your destiny, way more of a king of your castle. And I have to say, with the Star specifically, this shows a lot more recognition, you know? And yeah, this is especially true for those of you who have social media, but not only. Basically, it just shows you're going to get more recognition, more respect, more status. Yeah, more visibility, more people maybe knowing you, recognizing you, appreciating you. Okay, and this is definitely showing that you are making some vision become reality by the end of the year. And I really feel like this Three of Swords, whatever this heartbreak is actually a very powerful engine for you. Like your feelings, your emotions are going to become a very strong motivator. And with the number 7 coming through twice, and I think it came out another time. I don't remember. Where was it? No, this was the only 7 that I saw. Yeah, but we also have this card with Solitude. And then we have that card with the Observer, which is also kind of connected to Solitude. So I'm also seeing some Mercury energy here, right? It may not necessarily be that you have a strong Mercury in your horoscope. This could be just, you know, transits that are being activated. Again, dashas, antardashas, if you come from my Vedic channel, etc., right? But I'm seeing some mercurial energy, like I said, a little bit of a Peter Pan, youthful energy. But what I was going to say with the 7 is that I always connect the 7 to Ketu energy, which, like I said, is the co-ruler of Scorpio. Again, we also have some Scorpio themes coming through, this transformation thing. Hold on, actually. Please clarify the death here. I want to see this. Please clarify the death. Judgment. Yeah, again, this is about your thinking. See this? This is like a double confirmation. So you are going to go through some major transformation with respect to your inner landscape, particularly your thought processes. Like you're going to become more organized, more disciplined, more focused by the end of the year. And like I said, yeah, you're going to feel way more in control of yourself, control of your destiny. And what I was going to say here is that you're going to be going within, okay? But there's a wealth of opportunities within. I really feel like if you're creatives, pile number one, this is going to be like a major breakthrough year when you might be getting some major ideas for projects. Like, I don't know, like you're going to have an idea for a book or writing stuff. If you're a content creator, again, any kind of creator, you know, I'm seeing a wealth of like a well of information, a well of feelings, you know, motivating your desire to work hard towards mending your broken heart. So this really makes me feel like this is about, it's kind of a workaholic energy as well. So I wonder if some of you have Anuradha placements as well. But yeah, it really makes me feel like, you know, someone who goes through disappointment, so they pour all of their energy and their negative emotions into something like work, yeah, some kind of passion project, or maybe even your job, depending on what your job is, and something beautiful coming out of it, really, something rewarding, really. This is what I'm seeing. Okay, so let me get the astrological cards. Let's see. Pile number, Spirit, tell me about pile number one. What is happening in their lives in 2026? Oh my God, pile number one. What is going on? I have to say, like, I am just a little bit confused because holy shit. Wow, like the same themes of like love and career. I'm getting that song from Married with Kids. Again, the old TV show from the 90s. Love and marriage, love and marriage. Get together like a horse and carriage. Call the local gentry. They will say it's elementary. Try to separate them. Whatever. I think it's by Frank Sinatra. And I really feel, see, here's the thing that I'm seeing. We have Venus, hello. So some of you are definitely creatives, okay? It may not be that it may not be that you're like actual artists full time, but you're someone who has a lot of like creative potential. And whichever line of work you are in, but I really think that for many of you, even if you have not been particularly creative up until this point, like this year you're gonna become more creative. Maybe you're gonna rediscover an old passion, like I don't know, an artistic drive or something, like an artistic hobby. Maybe you could discover a new artistic hobby. But I'm seeing this very strong blending of the theme of romance and marriage and love in general, relationships, especially romantic relationships, partnership, right? Hello, we have 7th house and Venus, y'all. 7th house is the house of marriage, among other things. It is also the house of partnerships. However, we also have the 10th house, which is the house of career, and the 1st house, the house of self and identity. And we have Capricorn, the boss, okay? So this is like workaholic energy, again, confirmation of the Saturn energy. And we have Venus, but again, I really feel like Venus here is like you, like I said, pouring your heartbreak, pouring your emotions into some kind of project, some kind of work. And I really, that's the reason I say it's creative, because I mean, really, how often do you see people, I don't know, pouring heartbreak and emotions into a corporate job? Like, it rarely makes sense. But sometimes it could happen, definitely. I mean, workaholics are people who basically, you know, pour any emotion, or they use work to escape any emotion in general, so that makes sense. But the 10th house, this is a confirmation of what I said with the star and the magician. So you are definitely going to have plenty of opportunities to grow in your career. And according to the Bhavad Bhavam system concept, I mean, in Vedic astrology, the 7th house, being the 10th from the 10th house, is also connected to career and reputation. And it might, because it's partnership, this also makes me think that for some of you, you might be getting into some kind of business partnership, right? Or yeah, you might be finding a business partner, or you might find favorable contracts, you know, with collaborators and stuff like that. suppliers, maybe depending on what your, line of work is. For some of you, this could also be that you will find someone, okay, that is, a suitable long-term romantic partner. That could definitely be the case, especially with Venus. Hello. Venus is all about love. And I have to say, also with that transformation energy and the Venus and the first house, I really think that many of you are going to be going through some kind of physical glow up in 2026, whether it's going to be due to conscious effort, right? Like you're going to pay more attention to your beauty, to your attractiveness. I also think this kind of goes hand in hand with that message that I got in the beginning of the reading, where I said that some of you, especially women, but not only, you could be the types that really seek to be conventionally attractive, right? Like and again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, right? So I feel like at the very least, it could lead to a decent glow up, like if you take better care of yourself, right? You work out and stuff like that, you might, see a significant glow up in your appearance by the end of the year. So that could be happening. But I definitely see major potential for growth in your career, for advancement, for success, for recognition. Social status, right? So 10th house is social status, it's recognition. And I also see that ancestors theme here. Even though I didn't get K2, Saturn, 10th house, right? So by the way, Capricorn and Saturn are corresponding to the 10th house. So this is like a double Saturn energy confirmation. It also connects to karma, like your karma towards the world. So, and it also connects to, the 10th house connects to the father, particularly the father side of the lineage, right? So this could actually be about you clearing out some ancestral debt, or like I said, making a big breakthrough in this direction. Maybe you won't solve everything in this year, but you are heading towards the right direction, definitely. And with the 7th house, I have to say, again, there's definitely that focus on relationships, irrespective. Like, I definitely see, like I said, for some of you, that you will have an opportunity to actually meet someone significant. But irrespective, there will still be that tendency to have love on the brain, irrespective of whether you meet someone by the end of this year or not. Definitely there will be that romantic mood. You know what I'm getting again is a song in my head. There's a song by Bryan Ferry, and I don't think he wrote it. I think it's a cover. Almost certainly it's a cover, because it's like an old jazz song, and the lyrics are "I'm in the mood for love," whatever. But I don't know the lyrics, but it's something, it's called "In the Mood for Love" or "The Mood for Love" or something like that. So you can look for it. Bryan Ferry with a Y. I really like him. Yeah, he was popular in the 80s. He's a singer from the UK. But anyway, yeah, I'm getting that vibe where you're kind of like in a romantic mood. Yeah, but with first and 10th house, there's like a double confirmation that you are going to get more recognition, more attention. And with Venus, there might also be not just an opportunity for love and partnerships and a potential glow up, but there's also, of course, the potential for what I talked about earlier, you getting back in touch with an old hobby, basically anything that reawakens that state of flow of doing things for fun, of enjoying things, maybe even enjoying, everyday pleasures a lot more, like enjoying food more, going to the theater, reading stuff and all that, like taking time for yourself and enjoying the little things. I feel like these are things that you are encouraged to do. And also with Venus, self-love is a big one, all right? So Venus is about love. Like I said, it's the heart chakra in general. And I wonder if many of you, let's say, have Venus that is debilitated or very afflicted in your horoscope. That would make sense. Like Venus aspected by Malefics, conjunct Mars, aspected by Mars, in a sign of Mars, aspected by Saturn, by Rahu, by Ketu, in certain nakshatras that are very difficult. Venus in Virgo, where it's debilitated, right? So I wonder if this resonates with you, because that would make sense, especially in a woman's horoscope. Venus is about her lovability, really. I mean, in some way for everyone it is, but for a woman even more so, because women are expected to be this Venus archetype of like being the little princess, the sugar spice and everything nice type. And so I think, and what I've seen actually from astrology is that women who have an afflicted and or debilitated Venus tend to have these complexes, that they're not lovable, that they're not attractive enough, you know. So I really feel like this is an invitation. If this sounds like you, this is an invitation to work on that self-love, you know, in little ways, and however you can do it in a step-by-step way. Okay, and finally the Astro dice. Let me see. Spirit, what is coming towards pile number 1 in the year 2026? Oh, what do we have here? Number 6. Okay, so this can be the house of Virgo, but this can also be number 6 in numerology, which is ruled by Venus. And we have Neptune, okay, which is the ruler of Pisces and tropical. And we have Leo. All right, so very strong confirmation of that sun energy coming through. So this is a year, by the way, with Neptune, I have to say, really, I mean, let me know if you're the type that has some kind of creative, artistic pursuit, because there's so many messages here. Neptune, actually, Pisces, let me start with this, is the sign of exaltation of Venus, you know? And Pisces is like the most romantic energy, right? That's also why Venus is exalted there, because Venus is the planet of love. Pisces is all about sugar, spice, and everything nice and dreams, you know? And so this makes me think that you're definitely going to be in a very romantic mood. That explains a lot. But a lot of creativity as well. So like very, very strong, fertile imagination, you know. So I definitely think, like I said, so if you're someone who has ever had any interest in artistic, creative ideas, pursuing them, learning artistic skills, this is definitely the year to do it, you know, because of all of these messages. And with the number 6, one more thing again, so that's a little bit of the Mercury energy. With the number 6, what I can say is that it makes me think that, again, going in line with that Page of Swords, that Mercury energy with the Death underneath and the Observer card and the Solitude card and the Education card. So what I'm thinking is that number 6 will show 2 potential things. Number 1 is the fact that well, 3. Okay, let me start like that. So number 1 is the fact that you might deal with more competition this year. Okay, so you might deal with more conflicts, more enemies, more competition. Maybe you will be put in situations where you have to compete with people for a job, or again, maybe you're going to go through some competitions in school, like college, university, etc. That could be a thing. The other one is the health aspect. So you may be asked, or like, you know, you might come across more health issues. Since it's not a particularly strong message, I don't think that it's anything catastrophic, but the number 6 showing up because it's connected to the 6th house of Virgo could be showing you also, since the 1st house also came out, you know, it could be showing you that you are invited to pay attention to your health, you know, take your health checkups seriously this year to avoid further problems down the line. And then there's another one that makes me think of your everyday activity. So with that Page of Swords, with that Death card, as I was saying, I feel like this is Spirit reminding you, or like inviting you to rethink your daily routine when it comes to this. And again, there's this strong message of take it one step at a time. Don't, you know, overburden yourself. Don't kill yourself with, you know, workaholism. Don't burn out, but take things one step at a time, you know, and slow and steady wins the race, really. That's pretty much it. Be patient, be disciplined to a large extent. Take everything, you know, as it comes, and enjoy what you can on a regular basis, but don't despair because you don't get, let's say, massive results overnight, right? So there's definitely that feeling that I'm getting here. All right, this is pretty much what I see, pile number 1. I hope you have enjoyed this. Once again, I really hope that, you know, all of the good stuff out of this reading is going to happen for you in 2026, but I always mention this as a disclaimer. You have free will, and ultimately a lot depends on your actions, right? So take the advice, make the most of it, you know, according to how it resonates. Feel free to comment in the comment section. Of course, I'm very curious to hear how it resonates. Feel free to come back throughout the year and see, you know, how your year progresses. Aside from that, I just want to mention, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. It's the easiest way to support me, and it is free. Also, consider clicking on the notifications bell if you want to see when I upload a new video. If you would like to support me further, you can do so by clicking on the join button if you're interested. I still have to post some new videos on the membership sections, but yeah, if you would like to support me, you can become a member for a small monthly fee. Of course, you can also leave a tip. Any amount is very much welcome, and I'm very grateful for any support. Aside from that, if you would like to support me further, of course, you can share this video with as many people as you'd like, people that you know would be interested in tarot. Last but not least, I also offer tarot readings. If you're curious to get a private tarot reading, check out my email address in the video description. You can email me there. I can send you a pricing list with reading options and any other details that you're curious about. I've also left a link in the video description to reviews I've gotten for private readings before, when I used to do readings anonymously on a platform years ago. So yeah, if you're curious, go ahead and check out those reviews. They might help you decide if you want to get a reading from me. And one more thing is, I also have an astrology channel, like I mentioned. It's called Astro Martine. I will be leaving it in the video description as well, a link to it. So if you're interested in astrology, I focus mainly on Vedic astrology there, but also with some tropical insights. I have more than 20 years of experience in reading horoscopes right now, more than 10 in Vedic, which is my preferred system. So I use the sidereal zodiac coupled with the whole sign house system. But before that, I used to be heavily into tropical, so I know just about anything that a tropical astrologer knows, if I can blow my own horn a little bit. But yes, I eventually settled on Vedic because I found it to be way more insightful. But I also do a lot of my own research. I don't just follow old texts blindly, and you will see that if you have the curiosity to watch some of the videos on my channel. I also like to use a lot of examples in my videos, so I look at horoscopes of famous people, etc., etc. But yeah, if you're curious, you can go and see all of that on my astrology channel. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. I am very glad that you are here on my channel, and I hope to see you at my next tarot video. Bye! Welcome, pile number 2. This is your reading if you have chosen this card over here, number 47, my dear friend, and or this smoky quartz crystal. All right, so this is going to be the card selection phase. I'm going to add timestamps so you can skip directly to the interpretation if you don't want to sit through it, because I will be taking my time. So let's see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. The people who chose the smoky quartz crystal. What will the year 2026 have in store for them? Okay, 2 of these came out together. That's interesting. All right, so we have the Lovers, we have the Knight of Swords, we have the Ace of Cups, we have the 5 of Cups, we have the Temperance. Let's see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What is going to happen for them in 2026? What is coming into their lives? Tell me, Spirit. Oh my. Oh my. Oh dear. Okay. Please clarify the 6 of Swords over here. Actually, no, I'm not going to clarify. Well, hold on. I'm not going to clarify it now. I clarified it later. Okay, so we have the Lovers coming out twice. Pile number 2. So these two came out together. So technically they're like sort of like this. Both of them at the same time over the Lovers. All right. And that's like the 6th position. We have the Emperor. We have the 4 of Swords. We have the Knight of Cups. Nice. All right. Let me get some oracle cards. So Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What is going to happen in 2026 for them? Oh, children, number 14. Let's see. Spirit, what is coming towards pile number 2 in the year 2026? Love. Wow. The Lover's coming out twice, and we have love. All right. Spirit, Spirit is not being subtle at all. Let me just say that. Okay, Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What is coming towards them in pile what's coming towards them in pile number 2? What's coming towards pile number 2 in the year 2026, please? Gorilla Peace. Okay. Interesting how they showed the gorilla from the butt. All right. Will not dwell. So let's see, what else did I pull out a card? No, we have one more. Please tell me. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What is coming towards them in 2026? Yeah, this one. Oh, Pride. Number 7. Pride. All right, so we have Pride. Let's see. We have 14 with children. We have love. We also have the gorilla here. So I'm going to leave the gorilla over here. Number 1, peace. And with love, we have, it's not about finding love. You are love itself. Help me, Lord, to send so much compassion and caring to the inner child that I always remember I myself am love. Wow, that is very cool, because we also have number 14 with children, which is like, I wonder if whoever made the oracle cards had this in view, because 14 boils down to a number 5, which corresponds to the 5th house, which is the house of children. So let's see. But let me also read the description for this one. 47, my dear friend. And 47 is a 4 plus 7. That's a number 11, which is very spiritual. So let's see. I'm curious to see. My dear friend, what is this card about? Lifelong friendship, dependability, solidarity. If you recall the card, The Journey. All right, personally, I don't. You may recognize a similar scene here with a woman riding a deer, but this time both the woman and the deer are much older. Time has passed and the two are still companions. They have seen many seasons together, many sunny joys and cold sorrows. Their wisdom has grown like the graceful antlers the woman holds for comfort. The deer supports her, and she returns a loving touch to her dear friend. Spelled as D-E-A-R. All right. The seasons thing, it made me think of that song, Seasons in the Sun, I think it was called, by Terry Jackson. We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun. La na 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 na, but now the seasons are all gone and we all have to die. Yeah, goodbye, my friend, it's hard to die when all the birds are singing in the sky. The reason I even remember this song is because back in the 90s, way back, you know, in the darkness of time, when I was a child, I remember my sister and I, who is older, we used to watch, I think it was The Twilight Zone. I don't remember if it was The Twilight Zone or The Outer Limits. Yeah, we used to watch The Outer Limits a lot. And there was an episode about this guy who was murdering people and used to play them this song before murdering them. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know. My brain just works like that. Sorry for bringing a grim topic. But that's where my brain went. Anyway, the point is, this is positive, pile number 2, all right? Pardon my hijacking of your very happy read over here. we have the Lovers. So look at this, y'all. We have the Lovers as the very first card, and then we have the Lovers as the very last card. Okay. And this is telling me, look at this, we have the Ace of Cups. Interesting, with the Two of Swords. I'm going to get some clarifications for this one. And here's the thing. For some of you here, you're in a loving relationship, all right? Not all of you, but some of you, you're in a loving relationship, and this relationship is definitely going to last. So if you're someone who is irrespective, actually, I would say this is a message for everyone here, that you are meant to have like a very genuine romantic partnership in this lifetime. So it's not going to be just frills and thrills, you know, like it's going to be something solid where you can depend on the other person no matter what, where the other person likes you no matter what, you know. And it's built on something very solid, like you have a soul connection basically with this person. And maybe some of you have already met this person, like I said, because of that Lovers in the beginning. I really think for some of you, you're already in love. Or again, it could be that you are going to fall in love, you know, by the end of 2026. You might actually find this person who's going to turn into a lifelong, serious, romantic companion. But irrespective, you're all meant to have this very genuine love. However, because of this love and children and inner child thing coming through, this is definitely showing me that some of you are very lovesick, or some of you maybe are frustrated that you haven't found the kind of partner that you wanted. And so this is definitely a message that in order for you to have the kind of love that you need, this dear friend sort of thing, you know, that is solid and spiritual and based on something that is gonna last, you have to learn to love yourself. And I know it's a cliche, but this is about self-acceptance, you know. This is about understanding that in order to attract a healthy relationship, you need to first teach yourself that it's okay to have love, you know? Like, get used to it before you find a person that, like that, right? In the sense of learn to teach yourself to treat yourself, with compassion, with understanding, without being self-critical, right? And I really feel like for many of you, because of all this number 5, because we have the 5 of Cups, we have the 5 of Swords, we do have the number 14 in Roman numerals, which has a 5 in it. I mean, and we have the 6, we have the number 5 in the Lovers as well. Well, in one of them at least, in this one with the Roman numerals as well. But the bottom line is the 5 is connected, the way that I see it, to the 5th house. Like I said, the house corresponding to Leo, which is about love, you know. It's about self-love. It's about confidence. It's about your inner child. It's about the childhood experiences you've had. So there is definitely this message that many of you maybe carry this kind of hole from early childhood where you felt like your parents didn't really accept you for who you were, you know, because the 5th house is also about authenticity, like being allowed to be yourself, basically. And yeah, we definitely have this message that you need to practice the self-love thing. In the beginning, so like the Lovers and the Knight of Cups, this is showing that you're in a pretty romantic mood. So at the moment that you come across this reading, basically, again, maybe you're in love, maybe you're dating someone, maybe you are in a long-term committed relationship, you know. The Knight of Cups is definitely showing a lot of romance, you know. You're like in a very giving, romantic state where you love to love, you know. Again, it makes me think of that song, I love to love, but my baby just loves to dance. Whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, obviously, I'm not singing it well. What was it? Diana Ross? I'm not sure. Anyway, that kind of vibe is what I'm seeing here. And anyway, so you're in a very kind of heart chakra sort of energy. I feel like many of you have already started, or you're about to start seriously this year, the process of self-love, of like parenting yourself, maybe stuff like that. This card is very interesting to me. Number 7 in the pride. Oh my, I think I have an idea what it's connected to, but let me see. I'm gonna hold that thought, actually. Especially since she's like half bride. It kind of reminds me of the corpse bride. It reminds me of the corpse bride, sorry. By what was it? Tim Burton. But it also makes me think of the Llorona, you know, that Mexican legend. There's a song as well, and people dress up like her. She's like the weeping woman or something that cries over something she has lost. And also, since we have pride and the number 7, okay, I have to say this because it's coming through as a pretty strong message, but some people are not going to like to hear this, but some of you, you need to tone down your sense of pride and entitlement, all right, in order to experience the kind of love that you really need. Now, this could be for some of you that maybe have standards that are way too high, right? You have to learn to kind of tone down your expectations a little bit in order to actually have the kind of love that you need. You know, that beautiful kind of like my dear friend committed relationship that you yearn for. And for some of you yet, for those of you who are in relationships already, there's a message of be careful to not let your pride get the best of you, or like get in the way of your romantic fulfillment. You know? So yeah, I just felt like there was a message coming through. Maybe there will be more related messages coming through as I go along, but let me not digress. So we have the Knight of Swords, and this one again feels like I feel like you're gonna be like a bundle of contradictions, pile number 2, throughout 2026, because we have the Knight of Swords, we have the Four of Swords, which kind of seems like they're contradictory energies, actually. You know, the way that I see this is that Spirit is telling you the support you're getting, or like what's going to help you get what you need and progress in 2026, is on the one hand your capacity to push through. So the Knight of Swords is very kind of Mars energy. It's assertive, it's confident, it's knowing how to deal with the adversity and basically taking the bull by the horns. But then the fact that it is clarified or like explained by the Four of Swords, this also makes me think that what's actually going to keep you going, and I know this is cliche, but again, rest is going to be very important. Make sure that you get plenty of rest in order to be able to sustain your body, obviously. But aside from that, there's also this message about the subconscious and about spirituality. So I feel like you're getting a message, maybe with that number 11 again, on my dear friend. This is definitely a strong message that what is actually going to support you a lot in 2026 is your subconscious mind, your intuition. You know, so you might be someone who gets flashes of intuition, like you may get these very strong nudges to, I don't know, go down a certain path, maybe literally, I don't know, like you'll get all kinds of urges, like I don't know, like today I really want to go to the zoo or something for no reason, but once you get there you might find that, I don't know, you will run into a friend you haven't seen in like 10 years or something, or you will see something that really inspires you to create the work of art that you've wanted to create for a long time or something. This is what it makes me think of, you know? So I feel like in a way there is a bit of a message of work smarter, not harder, right? Because the Knight of Swords tends to be this very kind of blunt, you know, like that. I don't know if it was a legend or if it was actually happened, but there's that story about Napoleon, that he cut a knot, something like everyone was trying to figure out how to untangle the knot, and he just cut it. I think it was the Gordian knot, wasn't it? I don't know. Vaguely. Was it Napoleon or was it some other historical figure? As you can tell, history was not exactly a passion of mine. But it kind of makes me think of that story in the sense of, you know, like the Knight of Swords is this very blunt, kind of doesn't mess around. Like I said, takes the bull by the horn sort of energy. But I think that spirit with that Four of Swords is telling you, you also need to slow down sometimes and draw from your intuition. Like, it's okay to have that passion of the Knight of Swords, of being clear with respect to what your trajectory is and what you want to achieve. But don't just, you know, throw fists mindlessly. Don't just start arguments mindlessly. And instead, try to keep your cool, you know? Try to fall back on that Four of Swords. And also, Four of Swords is kind of like that state of unconsciousness, you know? So it definitely feels like there's maybe for some of you in particular, if you know that this is a problem in your life, there's definitely a message that you need to sleep more. You know, like sleep is very important. This is the message I'm getting. But like I said, for most of you, irrespective of whether sleep is actually an issue, this is about learning to trust your intuition, learning to trust that gut feeling, you know. Maybe start to do exercises in intuition. You know, like if you feel this urge to do something, try to go with it at least every once in a while and see if it leads to something positive, right? Yeah, so I feel like Spirit is telling you that your intuition is going to be a great help actually in 2026, you know. Okay, then we have the Ace of Cups. So this is the part where I want to get a clarification because I'm curious. Please clarify the Two of Swords here. Four of Pentacles. Please clarify the Two of Swords. What is the other thing that the Two of Swords refers to? Because it's two dichotomous things. Oh, wow. The Moon. Please clarify the Ace of Cups, Spirit. Ooh, the Six of Wands. So, let me unpack this. Wow. Some of you, and again, this is specific, not for everyone. Some of you are working on something big, or you've had some kind of a big dream for a long time. And maybe you have already started to work towards achieving it. Now, this could be a career, this could be renovating your apartment, I don't know, whatever it is. But I think for most of you, this is pretty big. This is like a life-changing decision. Like, I don't know, maybe you recently decided to quit your job to try to support yourself by writing blogs or something. You know, that kind of thing. And what I'm getting here is that you might be torn by indecisiveness to some extent. And what is very, very telling to me is that, again, we have the intuition here with the Moon, all right? The Two of Swords, so the Moon and the Four of Pentacles is clarifying the Two of Swords, which in turn is kind of clarifying the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups is also clarified by the Six of Wands. So let me unpack what this means, okay? Ace of Cups clarified by Six of Wands shows me that you are very obviously very motivated to succeed, okay? The Ace of Cups is a very emotional card, okay? So this is the heart chakra in a way as well. I don't think that in this context, this refers to relationships, but see how it resonates. Maybe it is also about relationships. So for some of you, let me take it like this. So if this is about relationships, although I don't see these cards here in the third position being particularly relationship related, but if they are, right, this could be a situation where it is the relationship or like your desire for this relationship to work that might actually be making you indecisive about this career trajectory that you are on, this life trajectory that you are on, or some kind of crossroads, right? So like it's making you indecisive and going back and forth in between, should I follow my heart's desire? Should I follow my intuition? Or should I stick to the path of self-preservation here with the Four of Pentacles? All right. So this could be like, for instance, totally random, I know, as a scenario, but just to give you an example, this could be a situation where, again, maybe you are a guy, let's say, and you recently quit your job because you were fed up with corporate and you decided to, I don't know, support yourself by being a photographer, but now you're making a lot less money, all right? And on top of that, let's say you are in a romantic relationship, or maybe you've recently started to date someone, okay? Because the Lovers is not necessarily a long-lasting old relationship. This is what I'm looking at here. Maybe you started dating someone after you made this life-changing decision, and now you are faced with these fears that, oh, I am not making enough money to take my girlfriend to expensive restaurants, right? And so you find yourself going back on that decision you made of, you know, quitting your corporate job, and you're thinking, did I do the right thing? Should I maybe go back to what I know so that I can make more money? Now, bear in mind, I'm not telling you to go one way or another because this is not my job, right? A tarot reader is not supposed to tell you what to do because you have free will. I'm just trying to illustrate what could be going on subconsciously, all right? Or again, maybe you are a woman and in a similar way, I don't know, maybe you could have been in a relationship, maybe again, you quit your job or something. Maybe you decided to take a job that requires traveling, for instance, and you start to feel nervous that your boyfriend might lose interest if you spend too much time on the road, for instance, right? So you will start to, again, maybe have doubts about whether you made the right decision when it comes to your life path. So that kind of thing could be happening. This is what I'm saying. Now, this could be about romance, or this could be not connected. Like for some of you, you're not even considering a romantic partner in this whole process. It's just your thing, right? So it's like your inner indecisiveness and your tendency to go back on decisions that is kind of like keeping you in this state of back and forth of like, I'm not getting the results that I want as quickly as I thought I would. Should I go back to what I know? You know, that kind of thing. And again, not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you these are your subconscious urges, your thoughts, right? But ultimately, so again, I'm going to get more information as I go along, but this is what I'm seeing getting in your way. So the fact that it's like actually in the opposition, this is Spirit telling you in a roundabout way, not to second guess yourself. You know, like stop wasting time second guessing yourself. And also with the Six of Wands clarifying the Ace of Cups, this is Spirit telling you, remember how far you've come, okay? So even though maybe you have some big goal, I don't know, whatever it is, maybe you want to retire at 50 or something, and you're, I don't know, looking at your bank account every 5 minutes and wondering how that's going to happen because right now you don't have enough money. So if you are in that kind of a situation, remember that the Six of Wands is about celebrating every milestone, not just keeping your eyes on the prize, okay? But making sure that you take moments, take time to feel grateful for what you have, and most importantly, to acknowledge your successes, no matter how small they were, okay? Like maybe you don't have as much money as you wanted to have by this age, but I'm sure that there were things that you did achieve, right? Maybe even things that at some point seemed impossible to you, you know? So take time to be grateful for the things that you have. And I also feel like, speaking of this, going hand in hand with that Four of Swords, and again, maybe this is going to sound cliche, but since this is coming through repeatedly in this reading, I really feel like I have to say it, that I think for those of you in this group, you tend to be either very action oriented, you know, like you're the type that that's like go, you know, you don't like to think too much, you don't like to analyze yourself too much, you just want to move forward. Or maybe you are the person who sometimes is good at analyzing people or analyzing yourself, but you still have a lot of blind spots. And so Spirit is telling you that it's very good for you to take time to rest, and not just when it comes to sleep and, you know, resting your brain and all that, but also taking care of the subconscious by regularly meditating, by keeping a journal, for instance, you know. So anything that basically increases your mindfulness, you know, your sense of self-awareness, and helps you become aware of why you do what you do, you know, and why you feel the way you feel. So all of these things are actually going to help you a great deal to, you know, process and make the most of 2026. Okay, and then we have the Five of Cups and we have the Emperor. So the Five of Cups and the Emperor, this is the past, okay? Oh, Lord. Yeah, in this context, again, this is kind of going hand in hand with that Ace of Cups and Six of Wands energy. In the sense that I really think in many ways you're the kind of person that spends too much time crying over spilled milk, you know? Maybe you're the kind of person that beats yourself up about, I don't know, the opportunity you didn't take back in 2017 or something, right? Maybe you're constantly, again, you have this tendency to kind of go back and forth between decisions, right? You go back on your decisions and you think, did I do the right thing back then? So again, I feel like the way to deal with this is to do things like meditation, journaling, resting, being kinder to yourself, because again, we have this repeated love and this repeated love theme basically. So I really, and the children, like I said, the children card, which makes me think of inner child. So I really feel that Spirit is telling you the past is the past, you know, no point in crying over spilled milk. Understand that whatever decisions you made, maybe that was the best you could do at the time. It doesn't have to decide the way that you live the rest of your life, right? So in other words, it's a message of like, don't beat yourself up. I feel like especially with that Emperor underneath the Five of Cups, like I think you really are, many of you are these people who are thinking things like, you know, if I had taken a left instead of a right 10 years ago, look at how much better my life would have been by now, you know? Or if I had stuck to the job that I got, again, like 5 years ago, I could have been CEO by now, you know? So stuff like that of like woulda, coulda, shoulda, that sort of thing. Yeah, that's definitely not gonna help in the long run. And I definitely see that this is a pattern with you, okay? So this is showing up in the past, and most likely it's gonna continue, right? So this is a kind of like a knee-jerk reaction you have, but like I said, Spirit is telling you, you need to learn to kind of tone it down, to keep it in check, right? Put things into perspective, practice self-love, remind yourself of how far you have come, and keep your eyes on the prize. Forget about the past, pretty much. And then we have the Five of Swords, we have the Ten of Pentacles, and this is the action card. All right. So this is the part where I'm going to tell it like it is, really tell it like it is. Not like I haven't told it like it is, but this is a rough part, all right? Five of Swords is something that shows something that's going to require some effort, all right? It's kind of like, the way that I think of it, honestly, is, I don't know, like polishing a diamond. It's like, and imagine that you're the diamond, all right? Imagine you're a diamond in the rough that needs to be polished. So the Five of Swords here, there are two different ways that I could read this, and it could be that both of them are true for you at the same time, depending on your situation, or it could be one or the other. So one way to look at it, again, goes back to the other, the previous two positions. So it goes hand in hand with that Ace of Cups, Six of Wands, Five of Cups, Emperor. In other words, the Five of Swords could also be a card that shows fear of failure due to the way that previous situations turned out. So maybe you have gone through some significant failures in life, or things that just did not turn out the way that you wanted them, right? And I see that with the Ten of Pentacles underneath, this is particularly connected to the area of career and or social reputation, right? So there's also like this fearfulness, right? So for some of you, it's like you're very driven to move forward and you're very ambitious, but at the same time, you're kind of like very, very fearful, you know, like you're so terrified of making a mistake. I mean, look at the way that this soldier is like, you know, has this like puppy face sort of thing. I don't know if it's very clear, right? So he's like vigilant, he is terrified, he looks terrified, and there are like people suffering in the back. There's like prisoners and stuff, whatever. What is that? Oh, holy, wait a minute. What is this? Like the rain of fire or something? Anyway, this is some kind of classical painting, but I have no idea. If anyone knows, please comment in the comment section. But it looks like there's a rain of fire going on, or like either that or people are throwing things on fire towards others in the street. But the soldier looks terrified, all right? And looks very fearful, looks like, and the fact that this is happening, you know, there's stuff happening in the background. There are people falling here on the ground. And he looks like he's dressed up, like he's ready for the occasion, but yet seems to be hiding in a doorway. Now, I'm not trying to say that Spirit is calling you a pussy. I didn't call you a pussy. Spirit calls you. I'm kidding. Okay. Nobody said the word pussy. Forget about that. But there is this tendency to be terrified of failure because of past patterns. And by the way, this is all going hand in hand with that message of love and the 5 coming through, because oftentimes people who have like a damaged 5th house, for instance, they tend to be people who did not get enough love from their parents, right? Had parents who were too critical, maybe narcissistic, sometimes downright abusive, you know, who just made them feel like they were never good enough, like any little failure, any little mistake was blown out of proportion. But then on the other hand, when you did something right, nobody acknowledged it, right? So that kind of very critical upbringing would 100% set someone up to become extremely anxious, right? And terrified, so terrified of failing that this is the really painful part, but I think that some of you really need to hear it, that this could become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because if you are so fearful and you're like, let's say on a subconscious level, you're so convinced that you can't do something, guess what? Chances are that you won't do something, because maybe your subconscious is so determined and so convinced that you're not meant to achieve the things that you want, that it will actually create all kinds of circumstances for you in your life to actually make sure that it stays that way, to kind of like, you know, convince itself that its assumptions are correct. This is what the subconscious does. And the subconscious, to a large extent, is programmed by our environment, particularly early in childhood. Again, I'm sorry that I'm digressing into a psychology theme, but this is, I feel like this is a message that is worth sharing because some people need to hear it. Now, the other way that the 5 of Swords, and actually, now that I think about it, both of them are kind of intertwined, really, because even if you are in the first scenario, I'm going to be honest, right? If you are someone like that who has gone through significant failures, maybe has a background of not getting a lot of emotional support, especially not in childhood, right? You're looking at a pretty rough ride, you know, to fight yourself, to teach your subconscious that it's okay, that you deserve success, that you can achieve the things you want, you know. So it's going to be a path that is going to require a lot of discipline, a lot of staying power. And also, it also ties back into that message of meditating, becoming self-aware, maybe looking into things like, you know, programming your subconscious, like, you know, the Silva method. There's this other thing that, but yeah, I think the Silva method, that's the big one, really. Like, I keep mentioning it, but I still personally have not really gotten in depth with it. But I plan, maybe I should do it. Maybe this is my reading as well. I don't know. I do like to test my merchandise, quote unquote, by, you know, choosing a card for myself after I do the readings. But normally I wait for at least like 1 or 2 weeks so that I forget what I said in each group, right? So that it's a fair choice that is purely subconscious. Anyway, but yeah, this is pretty much what you're looking at if you have like a deeply seated fear of failure. And at the same time, like I said, it could just tie into this idea that the Five of Swords in and of itself shows success out of after a lot of effort, right? After a long battle. And so, and I think this is why I said they kind of intertwine and they kind of feed into each other, because the long battle that you have to face is most likely the battle with yourself, the battle with your subconscious mind. Let's not also forget that the Five of Swords is about the mind. Number 5 is actually in numerology connected to Mercury, which is the planet that rules thoughts and, you know, the mind as well. As well as number 5 being potentially connected to the 5th house in astrology, which is the house that corresponds to Leo and is about self-love and the inner child and love in general, etc. But yes, the good news, okay, yes, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You're going to have to work, okay? This is the action card, so it is work. But the good news is there's a lot of motivation. And I feel like there is a rainbow there, you know, at the end of the road. But you need to really stick with it. You need to be consistent. This is what I'm getting here. And now, last but not least, we have both the Six of Swords and the Temperance. And here we have the number 5 again. We have 14, 1 plus 1. Sorry, 1 plus 4. So we have the number 5, and then we have the Six of Swords, which is showing like a slow progress or moving away from turbulence. Temperance, as the word suggests, is about becoming more even-tempered. And it's also about blending. So the Temperance card can also show a theme of blending things that normally do not belong together, which is very interesting here since we have the Lovers underneath. This is very specific, but for some of you, by the end of this year, you could be traveling to meet a romantic partner, or they could be traveling to meet you, or you could be meeting someone while traveling that will become a romantic partner. Not necessarily this year, but like someone that at some point in the future will become a romantic partner. This is very specific for some of you. In general, irrespective of whether this is going to be the case or not, this is showing that by the end of the year, you will become much more balanced, you know, and I feel like this is about balancing different sides of yourself, you know, like on the one hand, balancing your need for love and your need for relationships together with your focus on your own development, especially when it comes to career. So that is one aspect of it. Another aspect is about blending your ambition and you know, all of that Six of Wands energy, all of that vision thing, and that Five of Swords. So it's about blending that massive ambition and that grit of like sticking to something until you get the desired results with your capacity for self-love and your work on self-love, you know, like working on loving yourself, maybe parenting yourself and all that, you know, healing that inner child. So I feel like by the end of the year, you will have reached a way more balanced kind of life, you know, where you are able to be kind to yourself, you know, but at the same time, maintain your ambition and your grit and continue towards your goals, basically, especially when it comes to career, like I said. And yeah, I definitely see you, what I can tell 100%, again, provided that you make the most of everything that I shared, because free will definitely plays a factor. And I think with you, this is a particularly strong message that a lot depends on your willpower and your willingness and your capacity to work through your issues, basically. But if you stick to this, you know, and you work on it, you will definitely be in a better place by the end of the year than you were at the beginning, you know. And here with the number, I just realized that it is the number 1, yeah, which is also the sun. But we have gorilla with peace, you know. So again, I feel like this goes hand in hand with that Temperance. So I feel like I know this is going to sound maybe woo-woo and cliche, but it's like if you follow Teal Swan, for instance, because she's one person that I heard talking about parts work, you know, like how there are different parts of yourselves that could be at odds with themselves. So I feel like that's kind of like what might be happening by the end of the year. So like a reintegration of different parts of yourself and an inner peace that will ensue as a result of you working on self-love and accepting yourself, basically. So yeah, this is what I'm seeing pretty much from the cards. Let's see what the astrology cards have to say. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What is coming towards them in pile number 2. What is coming towards them in 2026? Oh my. Oh, we have, wow, a lot of Mercury confirmation. We have square, challenge, and disharmony. All right. So we have south node of the moon, old karma. Wow. So the south node, or K2, this actually is a very strong confirmation of this number 11 with my dear friend with the moon coming through, because K2 in Vedic astrology, even more than the moon, is very much connected to spirituality and intuition. So I definitely see this as a very strong indicator. By the way, I already think that many of you are on this path towards trusting your intuition more and more, you know, like you've probably started working on this for some time already, but there's gonna be an even stronger pull towards the intuition part in 2026 because of this energy, you know. And so Spirit is definitely telling you that number 1, there could be like this help from not just your intuition, but this is the woo-woo part here. By the way, K2 makes me think of 7, and we have number 7 here, because K2, by the way, in Vedic astrology rules dead bodies, among other things. And, you know, it's connected to the spirit world and all that stuff. So the way that I see this is you might actually be getting help from something, from like a spiritual plane. I don't normally say these kinds of things because despite the fact that I love astrology and tarot, there is a limit to how woo I get, you know, on a regular basis. I don't do crazy shit, you know, and I don't just believe in things that I don't see. But when it comes to the topic of, you know, getting guidance from above, not from like necessarily the spirits of your ancestors, for some of you it could be if you had someone pass away recently, particularly in the past year that you've known and cared about. It could be like that person guiding you or sending you messages or something. But otherwise, this is not necessarily coming from an ancestor. This is coming from, could be God, a higher consciousness, could be a guardian angel, something like that. Those are things that I do believe in. And again, for personal reasons, I'm not going to talk about why I believe in those things. But I actually did some videos where I talked more about karma and whatnot. And you can look for those on my astrology channel, Astro Martine, on YouTube. I will be linking it in the video description if you're curious. But yeah, I'm definitely seeing intuition. And now here with the South Node, because of, see, the South Node is about things that we have learned and mastered in previous reincarnations, okay? So there is this feeling of having a chance to break the chain, you know? And I feel like it goes hand in hand with that Five of Swords. So maybe the kind of issues, like the kind of psychological, mental issues that you have been dealing with or have dealt with for a long time are actually running in your family. So they're coming again because of transgenerational trauma. And you might have some major breakthrough this year with respect to being able to break the chain, basically, you know? And yeah, do things better than people before you have done. And then we have Neptune, dreams, and spirit. So here, this is the Knight of Cups energy, right? So this is going to be a very creative, intuitive year. This is like repeated confirmation, basically. You're going to have a very rich imagination. And with the dreams message in particular, so Pisces, which, you know, is the sign that Neptune governs according to tropical, is connected to the 12th house, which is the house of the subconscious, again, among other things, especially the collective subconscious, by the way. But it's also a house that is connected to sleep and dreaming. So anything that is connected to a subconscious state. So I see this as a very strong confirmation, again, that you need to learn to work with the subconscious in 2026. maybe if you have the opportunity, I'm just throwing it out there because I know it's a thing, I haven't done it myself, but maybe past life regression. If you have the option to do that, go ahead. I would definitely recommend this to someone who gets this reading, basically. But again, the Silva method, things like, programming your subconscious, meditating, journaling, keeping a dream journal, that's another one. So you might be getting messages and insights through your dreams in 2026. The subconscious is going to be very active and very much a source of strong resource for you, in the sense of bringing the inspiration you need, or like maybe giving you insights into how to solve problems in your life, etc., right? So yeah, journaling, I would definitely recommend that. So we have Mercury, mind and speech. Okay, so this, again, I would also see this as a recommendation to, again, going hand in hand with the journaling thing would definitely make sense, because Mercury is about communication, and it's also ruling the hands, so like actually taking time to write things down. And yes, I would recommend actually writing things down, as in not typing them, because it's different. And there have been studies in psychology actually that show that it affects the brain differently. Like, for instance, people remember things more when they actually write things by hand as opposed to typing. And it's more personal because it's more like 3D and it involves all the senses and whatnot. It's different. All right. So yeah, I would recommend, again, the journaling thing, or again, for some of you, or it could be it could be both, that you're recommended to keep a journal. And at the same time, that you might be getting some very creative ideas, some very imaginative ideas. So for instance, if you are a writer and you have had writer's block, this is definitely going to be a year when you will have the opportunity to get some really good insights, right, into how to move forward with your creation or start a different creation, right? And Mercury also shows that your capacity to communicate might be very useful, like will be somehow really solicited in 2026. Like, you might have to communicate with more people than usual. You have to make sure that your communication is as clear as possible. This could also be about, by the way, considering the rest of the spread and the lovers and whatnot, this could also be that you might meet someone online, or you will start communicating to someone online that will develop into a serious romantic relationship over time. And also doing things with your hands in general is recommended with Mercury coming through. And we have Virgo the Alchemist, all right? So with Virgo, there's also this message of, on the one hand, self-preservation, but on the other hand, there's also this message of paying attention to details, paying attention to little things that you can change with respect to your everyday life, like little tiny increments, rather than hoping for gigantic changes, I guess. So that goes hand in hand with that message that I uncovered with the Six of Wands and the Ace of Cups, and like not hoping for too much too soon, basically, and instead celebrating every milestone. I definitely see that as a confirmation. The Virgo also shows that one way or another, you might feel compelled to care more for your health, which is a good thing actually in 2026. So again, I don't want to send any negative messages, because first of all, this is general, right? So it's not the same as getting a personal reading, but it could be that for some of you, especially if you've had health issues in recent history, you will have, there will be some things that will keep you on your toes, or like, but I don't see any massive health issues coming through with these. But again, it's not a personal reading, so I can't really know for sure. However, what I can tell you with Virgo is that you will feel compelled one way or another, either because you yourself look at yourself and you realize that you have not had a healthy lifestyle, or because there's something happening, I don't know, your blood tests will show that you have high blood sugar or whatever, right? And that will compel you to take better care of yourself and watch your diet and all that stuff, right? But one way or another, like 2026 will see that you take better care of yourself, of your body, you know? And also maybe rethink some things in your day-to-day habits that can compound, sorry, over long periods of time into, again, something significant. So tiny increments leading to big changes by the end of the year, rather than, you know, wanting to do everything all at once. I feel like this is the basic modus operandi that you are encouraged to have in 2026. And last but not least, we have this square, challenge, and disharmony, which I really think, like I said, goes back to that parts work theory that I was talking about. So I feel like this is not so much about you getting into conflict with other people, although if you have inner conflict, that could reflect in the outside with, you know, conflicts with other people based on projecting subconscious issues that you actually have with yourself. But again, let me not digress into psychology. However, this square in and of itself, you know, I think will show conflicts between different parts of yourself. You know, like the part of you that wants success is going to be at odds with the part of you that, I don't know, kind of wants to detach and not care about success, for instance, right? So basically, this is a reiteration of the theme that you're going to have to work on balancing different sides of yourself. This is what I'm seeing it as. Okay, let me get the Astro dice. So, Spirit, what is coming into pile number 2's life in 2026? Okay, we have number 1, which is ruled by the sun, okay? And it did also show up on this gorilla card. We have Virgo again, so I wonder if some of you actually have placements in Virgo. And we have Saturn, all right. So Saturn, to me, definitely confirms this 10 of Pentacles and that 5 of Swords energy, which, again, makes me, again, remind you that this is not going to be easy, okay? So you will be asked to rise to the challenge in 2026. And Saturn, again, it is a beautiful confirmation of everything that I said so far. So, like, there's such a strong emphasis from Spirit on taking things one at a time, you know, not thinking of a year as like, oh, I can't wait for the year is over so that I can finally get what I want, but instead think of every single day as a battle, right? So like you have to win every little battle, you know, you can't move from one battle to the next, right? And you have to win every little battle every day in order to win the war, right? And if you think of the war as like the year of 2026, that's where you want to get to, right? So Spirit is really telling you, you need to pace yourself, all right? And I really feel like, again, this is going hand in hand with that Knight of Swords and the Four of Swords, in the sense that Spirit is telling you, don't push yourself in the idea of you want to do everything all at once. Like, I also feel like, again, if you are a student, for instance, this is a message of don't try to cram things, and instead try to break things down into like little lessons that you can learn over the course of a year or a semester, right? If you are learning any kind of new skill, right, the same thing basically. Or let's say if you're trying to improve your health, by the way, because we did have Virgo coming through twice, which is the sign that is most connected to health, really. Again, there's this message of like, take care of your health every single day, you know, don't just jump to the end of 2000. You know what this makes me think of, actually, and maybe this is a worthy message, like it's a worthwhile message for some of you. I don't know how many of you have seen that movie Click with Adam Sandler. Like, this is the kind of vibe that I'm getting. Like, I feel like you might be someone who wants to skip through all the unpleasant stuff in life so that you can get straight to the end. And by the way, I would recommend that you watch that film if this resonates actually with you, because it has a very strong message about, you know, it's kind of like, it gives a cautionary tale actually against people who want to skip through all the unpleasantness of life, you know. But yeah, so Spirit is telling you, yes, you will have to put in the effort, but the best part about Saturn, okay, so the worst part about Saturn is you're not going to get any help this year, all right? I'm going to be brutally honest, right? So Saturn is like the lord of karma. And again, you also have this South Node with all karma. So again, repeated themes. So Saturn is going to make sure that you are thoroughly tested, right? So don't leave anything to chance, basically, this year. This is the year where you have to be that Saturn energy. So you have to plan ahead. You have to think about the worst case scenarios and plan for those worst case scenarios, right? Don't leave anything to chance. You're not going to get huge lucky breakthroughs this year, most likely, all right? You're not going to get windfalls financially. Very unlikely. Okay, so that is the not so good side. But on the positive side, Saturn is showing you that you get what you give, you know, so like you will get what you put in. So if you are disciplined, hardworking, don't leave things to chance, take responsibility for yourself and your life, the rewards will not hesitate to show up. So by the end of this year, like I said, it won't be maybe groundbreaking, again, because I can see that with the Six of Wands and the cards that came through, that you're someone who has big goals, or, you know, but so maybe it won't be like a rags to riches, you know, from the beginning of 2026 by the end of it, but you will see significant increase, you know, like, and also it will make you feel good about yourself because you will have done it through your own efforts, and it will give you a stronger sense of confidence, self-esteem, and, you know, control over your destiny, which I think is very important for you because of that Five of Swords energy of like fear of failure and all that. Okay, and with the number one, again, that goes hand in hand with this confidence, right? So this confidence of like knowing who you are, being at peace with yourself, knowing that you have done everything in your power, just that, you know, just knowing that you've done everything in your power will give you a very high amount of peace eventually, right? That's it. That's pretty much what I have to say. So, pile number 2, I really hope you have enjoyed this reading. I definitely have very strong messages. I hope you make the most of them. And again, I will remind you to please subscribe to my channel. If you haven't done so already, it's the easiest way to support me, and it is free. Also, don't forget to click on the notifications bell if you want to see when I upload a new reading. And feel free to comment in the comment section with anything about this reading, feedback, as long as you keep it polite. Of course, any ideas that you have for future topics that maybe you want to see me do on this channel, I will take them into account. But yeah, and also feel free to come back to this reading as 2026 progresses, and by the end of the year, make, you know, and maybe give me some insight with respect to how it resonated overall, you know. And aside from that, if you are interested in getting a private reading from me, check out the video description. I will leave my email address there. And also, I mention this all the time because I've had some people ask me some worried questions. I definitely protect confidentiality, so it is assured confidentiality. I do not use your information for anything. I don't do cold reading. I do not research my clients online or anything like that. And I also don't spam people. So like if you are just curious to find out information, you can send me an email and I'll send you the information you're curious about, and that's it. I'm not going to continue to, I don't know, spam you with commercials or anything like that. Aside from that, if you are curious to see reviews that I have gotten for private readings before, I've also left a link to a blog post in the video description with reviews I've gotten before. On this platform that I used to do readings anonymously for, like some years ago when I started really, you know, testing my tarot reading skills. So yeah, if you're curious, go ahead and check them out. Might help you decide if you want to get a reading from me. And aside from that, if you would like to support my channel further, of course, through a small monthly fee, and by getting access to extra videos, you can check out the membership options. I still have to post a lot of more videos there in the membership section. I have kind of neglected that section recently because of personal issues, I have to admit, but I will continue to post there. So yeah, you can go and check out the reading options, the membership options, sorry. And also, of course, you can support me through, for instance, leaving a tip. Any amount would be welcome. And of course, sharing this video with as many people as possible, people that you know would be interested in tarot. I would greatly appreciate it. And last but not least, I also have an astrology channel, as I've mentioned at some point. It's called Astro Martine. I will be linking it in the video description as well. I focus mainly on Vedic astrology there, but also with some tropical insights. I have more than 20 years of experience reading horoscopes, more than 10 in Vedic, which is my preferred system. But I know just about anything in tropical as well, because I used to be very obsessed with that system as well. But now I stick to Vedic because I found it to be most accurate. I stick to the sidereal zodiac with the whole sign house system. However, I also do a lot of my own research, and I like to back up my theories and my interpretations of astrological configurations through a lot of horoscopes of famous people, relationship analysis of famous people. And yeah, if you're curious to see any of that, you can check out my astrology channel and a lot of the 300 plus videos that I have posted on my channel. I would greatly appreciate it if you join me there by subscribing. Of course, it would be great. And yeah, this is pretty much it. I hope you have a great 2026, and I hope to see you at my next tarot reading. Bye! Welcome, pile number 3. This is the reading you have requested. Sorry, not requested. Force of habit, sorry. Pile number 3. This is a reading you have chosen. If you have chosen this card, Elixir of Life, number 15, and or this Ruby and Zoisite crystal. So let's see. This is going to be the card selection phase. I am going to add timestamps, and you can skip directly to the interpretation if you don't want to sit through it. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3, the people who chose the Ruby and Zoisite crystal. What will the year 2026 bring into their lives? All right. All right. So we have 10 of Swords, we have Temperance, we have the Hierophant, we have 6 of Swords, we have the Chariot, and we have 6 of Pentacles. Let's see what more. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What will the year 2026 bring into their lives? Page of Swords, the Fool. Ooh, 10 of Cups. And here we have 2 of them coming through at the same time. 2 of Cups and the Strength. Knight of Pentacles and the 4 of Cups. Okay. So let's see. Some Oracle cards. So these 2, they came through here. Pentacles, Chariot. Okay. Hierophant. Alright. Okay, Knight of Pentacles. Okay. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What is coming towards them in 2026? 10. Pay attention to signs. Okay, we have the number 10 again. We have the 10 of Swords. Let's see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What is coming towards them in 2026? Spirit, tell me. Education, number 12. Whoops! Crap. I have to pick up the cards now. Okay, so Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What is coming towards them in 2026? Empowerment. Alright. Let me see. Is there any... Yeah. This other card. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What's coming towards them in 2026? We have 2 cards. Butterfly and Dolphin. Wow. Happiness, number 6. Okay. You're the only pile that I had the urge to get 2 of these cards for. So we have 42 boils down to a number 6, 28 boils down to a number 1, Butterfly, the Soul, and Happiness, Dolphin. Interesting that they have similar colors of like blue. And we also have this card, Empowerment. When you ask the divine to take over, you get pulled into your own authentic power. It's a force of inner love that wants your wholeness and magnificence. Unfold my true and radiant self, dear Lord. Okay. Okay, and we have these cards: education, pay attention to signs, and we also have the original card. You have so many number 6s, right? Because like with you also have this card with happiness, dolphin. Number 6 is ruled by Venus, by the way, and we also have 15, which boils down to a number 6 here. So let me read the description for this card from the booklet. Healing, consolidation, reinvigoration, truth. A woman is leading towards a deep red rose. She faces the flower with her eyes closed, concentrating on the lush bloom. She is receiving the sweet scent of nature and the energy of life. The wind rustles her hair, whispering the truths of the universe into her ears. She can hear her own breath mingling with the wind. Sitting quietly in nature by a stream or in a garden can help still your wandering mind and heal a troubled heart. All right, so I wonder if some of you have prominent Taurus energy, but I definitely see some Venus, or see, here's the thing, irrespective of what your horoscope has, this year is very Venus dominant for you. I wonder if some of you have prominent, maybe you're going through a personal year number 6, by the way, or a 6th cycle, or a 6th pinnacle. There's a bunch of them in numerology if you're into numerology. But yeah, like Venus is coming through strongly for you, pile number 3. And again, maybe you also have prominent Venus. Yeah, that would make sense. Like, again, or maybe placements in Taurus and Libra, the signs that are ruled by Venus, placements in the 2nd or the 7th house, which are also kind of connected to Venus. Placements in the nakshatras that are ruled by Venus, Bharani, Purva Falguni, Purva Shadha. But anyway, let me not digress. So you have butterfly, which is transformation. You have happiness, dolphin. It's interesting because dolphin is about playfulness, and you also have this pregnant woman on top of one. Okay, number 6, which again makes me think of Venus and empowerment, you know, unfold my true and radiant self. Right off the bat, I feel like for many of you, you're going to have some significant physical glow up this year. But let me see what else I get. So we have 10 of Swords and Page of Swords. So this is like your current state or your state, either when you came across this reading or this was your state at the beginning of 2026, all right? And it's not great, all right? 10 of Swords shows that basically, I mean, it's close to burnout, right? Or even burnout, right? So 10 of Swords is like dead end. But the dark side of it is it's extreme exhaustion. It's kind of like complete defeat where you just have nothing left to give. But on the other hand, there's this message of nothing is, it's always darkest before the dawn, you know? So, or like the only way to, if you're down, the only way to go is up, you know? So I really feel like this is like your energy at the beginning of this year, or again, it could be at the time when you come across this, and it's not great, right? So you're in this really tired state, okay? Maybe you feel like you haven't started the year very well, you know, you started on the wrong foot. For some of you, this could actually be struggling with some physical ailments, right at the beginning, but clarified by the Page of Swords, this makes me think that for most of you, this is a mental state, you know, so it's like either that your thought processes and your ideas are kind of keeping you in this feeling of like you're actually magnifying your tiredness through your own mentalities, like you're not as tired as you think you are. And again, I don't mean to offend, this could be for some people, but it could also be just a mental thing in the sense of like you could be going through some mental health issues, you know, like depression, anxiety. I would say depression, especially with the 10 of Swords, you know, there's this feeling of like heaviness, of exhaustion, you know. But yeah, this is like the status quo. Doesn't mean that it's going to stay this way, right? Because things are definitely improving as I go along with the cards, as far as I can see. So the support is Temperance, clarified by the Fool. I'm going to get some clarifications just to see more details here. Okay, please clarify the Temperance, Spirit. Wow. Do you know why I think this is wild? I don't know if you paid attention to when I picked the cards, like I instinctively, when I took this card, I said the Sun, and then I corrected myself and I said the Fool. It was like I kind of, well, to be fair, yeah, it's maybe understandable because it's also yellow and there's a sun in there. So I thought, but it was just kind of wild to me that I said the sun and then the sun came out. Anyway, here comes the sun. I love that song by the Beatles. Here comes the sun and I said it's all right. So anyway, with the sun in support, pile number 3, I don't think you have to worry too much, all right? You may start this year in a bit of a slow manner, slow, sluggish, sad. There's still, like, you could also still be dealing with the aftermath of something, you know, like some kind of long drawn issues that you may have dealt with in recent history. But here's the thing, with the sun in support, you are going to be reborn. I feel like one of those like Baptist preachers, like, you are going to be reborn in Jesus' name, you know. Okay, Jesus may not have anything to do with this, but like, you're going to go through this resurrection thing, all right? I'm sorry, I can't stop now. This is how my mind works. Don't want to offend anyone. By the way, I come from a Christian background, so, but there's this feeling, you know, like the sun is vitality. Let me put it like that. It's vitality, it's energy, it's life force. And when I saw the number 28 here, 28 boils down to, on the butterfly, right? I was actually thinking of this vibe of transformation, which is also what made me think of that glow up message as well. But this is like going beyond the physical glow up. This is like a renewal. This is like a rebirth of energy. Now, I would not be able to tell you exactly when this is going to happen. Maybe it's going to be, I don't know, maybe you're already going through it. You know, you started January very badly, and by the end of February, you're going to feel like, I believe I can fly or something. But I don't know. It could be by October. It could be by December. For some people, could be by August, you know. Maybe the sun showing up is just showing that some of you are going to get sunburn. I'm just kidding. That was bad. Please ignore me. It's like 2 a.m. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, though, the sun is very powerful. And so is the Fool. Basically, what you're looking at is the energy of a new beginning. Okay? So a renewal of energy, of vitality. Some of you, I don't know, again, if this is a physical ailment, this could be like you're going to find some kind of miracle medication that's going to work better than anything else. And it's going to make you feel like, oh my God, I'm alive again, right? But the sun is, you know, on a spiritual level, showing that you are going to see a renewal of motivation. You're going to remember what drives you, why you do the things you do. And with the Temperance clarified by the sun, this shows a very cool and confident attitude, right? So it's like the more this renewal, or should I say like this new beginning, you know, is going to make you it's not going to be like a throw yourself head first sort of energy, right? So you're not going to have that attitude of becoming impulsive. It's just going to be like a very confident approach of realizing, yes, this is what I want, this is where I want to get, and just kind of very calmly heading towards it, you know, like a lion in the savannah, you know, or like cats, you know how they act like they don't care about anything else and like they rule the world. Yeah, that's kind of like the vibe. That's the vibe of the sun, you know. The sun is the natural correspondent to Leo and the 5th house in astrology, right? So it has that feline sort of energy of like confidence and here I am, take it or leave it. Now, the interesting part to me is the Hierophant clarified by the 10 of Cups in opposition. Now, again, since this is a general reading, I have to look at all the potential interpretations here. But there are 2 main potential interpretations that I see here. For some of you, this is about a separation. Not just any separation, but I would say for many of you, this could be about divorce. So I feel like for many of you, you could have gone through a significant separation in recent history, a divorce in recent history. And so this in opposition is showing that you might still be dealing with the aftermath of this breakout, both emotionally and in some material sense. Now, on the other hand, another way to look at this, if this does not resonate at all with you, you haven't gone through a breakup in the recent history or anything that would still affect you still, this is not about a relationship in particular, but this is about, not about a romantic relationship, but this is about family expectations, societal expectations, right? So, for instance, maybe you are a young person who is just starting out in life or something, and you feel this awakening of your motivation this year, and you finally get some clarity with respect to what it is you want to achieve in life, but your family does not feel as enthusiastic about your newly found motivation, right? So, I don't know, like you decide, let's say you've been depressed and you finally realize that, hey, I always wanted to be a doctor or something. Although I don't think most parents would object to anyone becoming a doctor, but who knows, maybe your family are, circus acrobats, right? And so they will be horrified to hear that you want to leave the family tradition to become a doctor, So the Hierophant is tradition, okay? In some situations, this could be religion. Okay, so it could be like, I don't know, maybe you, again, grew up in a, because I kept cracking these jokes about Jesus. I don't know, I haven't had that feel with the other ones, the other two piles. So just saying, maybe there's a sign. The very fact that I kept thinking about Jesus throughout this, in the beginning of the reading, maybe that's a sign. But anyway, the Hierophant, yeah, could be anything that is seen as the status quo, the establishment, social expectations, and especially since it's clarified by the 10 of Cups, this is some kind of family context, right? Or the context of your community, or yeah, some kind, maybe again, could be church community, could be religious community, right? So somehow you will feel that these things will come into your to oppose you, basically, in your opposition in the year of 2026. Then we have Six of Swords, clarified by the, oh my, holy shit. Wow. This is a very strong confirmation for some of you. I'm pretty sure that many of you have gone through a breakup by this point, because we have Six of Swords in the past. Look at this. Six of Swords, clarified by the Two of Cups and the Strength. Again, I'm sorry that I keep cracking the Christian jokes, but the first thing that came to my mind is, Lord, give me strength, that kind of thing. Anyway, I feel like many of you have gone through a breakup, in recent history, and you're still not over it. Like, you're still, and again, either on an emotional plane or on a physical plane. Like in a material sense, you still feel the aftermath of that breakup, and it still affects you in some negative way. By the way, for those of you who maybe, for instance, have children of your own, that Hierophant clarified by the 10 of Cups could also show that what you might feel is getting in your way in 2026 is responsibilities towards your children, Again, take it how it resonates, because again, this is a general reading. But yes, the Two of Cups in the past, okay? This could again reiterate the idea that some of you have left a pretty strong affair of the heart behind. Now, since this is the Two of Cups and the other one is like the 10 of Cups, I have to say the Two of Cups generally shows like a young relationship. So generally with the Two of Cups, you don't necessarily think of marriage. Now, depending on the situation, of course, some people divorce after 5 months nowadays, so that could definitely be a Two of Cups situation. If you get shit-faced and, get married overnight just to impress your friends, that's definitely a Two of Cups situation. But for the most part, like, Two of Cups would not explain like a 10-year marriage or something like that. So that being said, for some of you, this Two of Cups, even if you are, let's say, divorced, or you have gone through some major breakup in the past, I don't know, 1 or 2 years or something, that Two of Cups could show an additional relationship, a younger relationship, maybe some other attempt at a romance that went south in recent history. Okay, but the Six of Swords, again, whichever the case is, whether it was like you got divorced, or again, you ended a serious long-term relationship, or it was just a fling that lasted a month or less than that. Whatever the situation is, you're definitely still kind of moving away, or it shows that in recent history, you have been moving away slowly from, with the Six of Swords, moving away slowly from some painful relationship situation. And the strength thing, again, definitely shows that your strength, your resilience was tested, all right? And it's also interesting that you have a woman holding a child, kind of like saying goodbye here. Again, makes me think of separation. Sorry, not making fun of anyone suffering, but kind of makes sense, you know, especially since in today's world, a lot of divorces happen when there are kids involved. So anyway, that could be definitely one thing. And I have to say this is pretty strong. So when it comes to people that, let's say, maybe none of this has resonated, they haven't actually ended a relationship or a divorce or anything like that. Six of Swords could actually just show that you are slowly moving away after something that got your emotions involved. So it could have been just an infatuation, maybe. It could have been, yeah, like just something that maybe was a mild disappointment. Like, I don't know, someone you just flirted with, but nothing ended. Like nothing, sorry, amounted to anything, right? So it could have been just something like a short fling that got your emotions flared up and made you feel like it was something good was going to happen, but it never got off the ground. So that could also make sense. Okay. The Chariot and the Knight of Pentacles. So beautiful symmetry here. The two men riding a horse, all right? The Chariot and the Knight of Pentacles. So this is your action, you know, pillar here. So what this is showing is, I mean, it's going hand in hand with the sun. So this is clearly showing that you have a lot of energy at your disposal in 2026, all right? So the Chariot and the Knight of Pentacles makes a lot of sense. And again, what's really great here, and I have to say, you're definitely moving towards a healthy approach to life. I don't know. I mean, after a relatively rough patch, you know, I'm seeing stability. This is what I'm seeing with the Temperance here and the Sun and the Chariot. This is like you, again, confidently, quietly, steadily moving forward, right? Not crazy, not throwing yourself head first, not setting things on fire. There's like a controlled enthusiasm, like a controlled sense of confidence and vitality and energy and power, you know? And speaking of power, by the way, you do have this card with empowerment, you know? Unfold my true and radiant self, dear Lord. So again, going hand in hand with this idea of this being tradition, whether this was a marriage, whether this is family and or society, someone opposing you, this is about your breakthrough. This is about your determination to be yourself and to get exactly what you want, you know, without compromising. So ultimately what I'm seeing is by the end of 2026, you're definitely going to have a lot more confidence and you're going to have a lot more of a sense of control over your life, a sense of empowerment. This one is interesting here with pay attention. Oh my God, sorry, I have to say it. There's a cross in there, all right? I don't know what it is with this reading and Christian symbols, but pay attention to signs, all right? So pay attention to signs could just be exactly that, like in the sense of learn to listen to your intuition more, you know, don't dismiss your gut feelings because there could be valuable information in there. And education here, yeah, maybe some of you are actually, you know, working on getting an education. But education also just speaks of learning in general. So like you could be learning a lot throughout this year, maybe learning a new perspective on life, learning things about yourself. Because number 12 is also about Jupiterian energy. So that's very kind of expanding your horizon sort of energy. Maybe there will be more opportunities for travel. The Chariot, by the way, also shows movement, mobility. So like maybe you will travel a lot in 2026 or you will have the opportunity to. Of course, doesn't mean that you actually have to take it unless you want to. But yeah, there is this. So the Chariot and the Knight of Pentacles is kind of like this slow, deliberate, determined effort, you know, put towards your goals in all aspects. So I definitely feel like you are staying true to yourself in this year. And you kind of have this attitude, again, because of that Hierophant and the Ten of Cups, it makes me feel like you're going to ruffle some feathers, probably. Some very traditionalist feathers. But you're going to stay true to yourself in the process and learn your confidence and your inner sense of strength and power. Six of Pentacles and the Four of Cups. Again, kind of, oh my God, this is very specific again, but it goes hand in hand with that 10 of Cups, I have to say. So I feel like for some of you, maybe for a lot of you here, there could be people in your family. So it could be either family of origin, or again, it could be your current family. Like, again, especially for those of you who resonated with the divorce story, that really rely on you financially. Maybe even, again, kept asking things from you. Like, I don't know, maybe you felt like your family was only nice to you because you made good money and you helped them out financially or something, you know? Or again, if you actually may have gone through a divorce, I don't know, you could feel really drained financially with the divorce proceedings or stuff like alimony, whatever. Like, but with the Six of Pentacles and the Four of Cups underneath, there's this message of learning to say no, you know? And I feel like in this context, this is about you learning to set healthy boundaries with people who have just drained you, you know, or people who were only there for you when they needed you, when they needed something from you, more specifically, with that Six of Pentacles. Because Six of Pentacles, again, normally the Six of Pentacles is pretty positive, and this is a potentially positive outcome, actually, that you learn to put your energy into, you know, so again, Six of Pentacles could literally be money, physical resources, but it could also be your time, your energy, you know? So anything that's kind of like a material resource in the world is Six of Pentacles, because Pentacles is earth energy, right? And can also be love, right? But especially like a nurturing kind of love, the kind of love that you would give towards a project, right? So I feel like, or towards people in need, just like you have the symbolism here on this card, you know? Again, so many Christian symbols, I just cannot, all right? Maybe some of you are going to stop giving money to your church because of, by the end of 2026, because you're going to get pissed or something. But anyway, what I was going to say is that with the Six of Pentacles and the Four of Cups underneath, this is you learning to say no. This is about discernment, all right? So it's not necessarily the case that you're going to become super stingy or something, but you're going to think twice before giving your time, your energy, your money to people that are just not worth it, right? So you're going to become more discerning with respect to, hey, do I actually want to help this person? Do I even, I don't know, even if they're family, you know, you might get to a point where you're like, do I actually want to maintain good relations with this cousin or whatever who only calls me when they need something, right? So that kind of thing. You are going to become much more truer to yourself. I think that's the way to put truer to yourself, or like more true to yourself. But yeah, basically, you're just going to have healthy boundaries with people, right? Especially people who try to mooch off of you. But another important theme with the Six of Pentacles showing up and the education card here showing up is there is literally a very strong theme of actual education here, you know? So Six of Pentacles, I've said this in other readings, is in tarot the card that I would most connect to the teaching profession, right? So for some of you specifically, this could actually be about teaching. You're going to get some kind of opportunities to teach. By the end of the year, you're going to become a teacher. I don't know, something like that, right? Or you could be involved in charity, or maybe volunteering as a teacher. That's another thing, because that's a combination between charity and teaching. And the reason I say charity is because Six of Pentacles also tends to have a connotation of generosity, like of giving things away to people in need, you know? But yeah, this is pretty much what I see through the cards. So let me get the Astro cards. Pile number 3, tell me, Spirit, tell me about pile number 3 and what's coming towards them in 2026. Wow. Wow. I don't know. Wait a minute. I was feeling a pretty strong urge to get another card. This one? I don't know about this. Yeah, this one apparently. Chiron, inner healing. Wow. All right. So I haven't gotten this one in a long time, but let's see. 7th house, love and partnership. So love and partnership to me is a strong combination. I mean, a confirmation, sorry, that for some of you, this is about a separation, because the 7th house could go either way. 7th house is about legal contracts, right? Especially partnerships. So it could refer to marriage partnership, could refer to business partnership. So I definitely see this as a confirmation that for some of you, you've gone through some significant breakup in recent history. There is also a possibility at the same time that you might also meet someone significant in 2026 that could lead to a serious relationship. So we also have South Node of the Moon, old karma. Again, I definitely see this as another confirmation that you're still dealing with some shit from the past, all right? But again, old karma and the South Node at the same time could show a possibility that you're going to meet someone that you have a karmic contract with respect to having a romantic relationship with them. We have Neptune, dreams and spirit. This is Pisces energy, okay? So this is very romantic. And we have Sagittarius, the world explorer. So I definitely see this as a confirmation of what I said, that you might have an opportunity to travel this year. We have Mercury, mind and speech. So communication is going to be very important for you in the year 2026. It also shows a lot of intellectual activities and or pursuits happening in 2026. And Chiron, inner healing, all right? That makes sense with the 10 of Swords in the beginning, because it sounds like you do need a lot of inner healing. Pile number 3, I have to say. There are some common themes with the other two piles, so if you felt drawn to one of them, I would definitely recommend that you watch the one that you felt drawn to. But if you didn't feel drawn at all to any of the other two piles, I would definitely, say that you are going to get all the messages you need from this reading. So no need to check out the other ones. But yeah, so Neptune with dreams and spirit. This is showing that you will have a bit of ironically, considering the rest of the cards and the potentially negative explanations, Neptune, which is the co-ruler of Pisces, also shows that there will be an imagination, a dreaminess, romanticism to your life in 2026, okay? So there will still be maybe a yearning for romance, a creativity, your imagination being fertile, all kinds of things. Basically a lot of creativity, a lot of imagination, and also the potential to maybe have new romantic interests. And we have Sagittarius, like I said, a confirmation that this is most likely that in 2026 you will have the opportunity to travel, to expand your horizons, whether it's through travel or through just expanding your knowledge, learning new things. I mean, hello, you do have education here with Jupiter. So with number 12, by the way, on education, which boils down to number 3, which is ruled by Jupiter in numerology, and Sagittarius is also ruled by Jupiter, so that's a confirmation as far as I see it. And you also have Mercury, so like both Jupiter and Mercury, they show intellectual activity, so like Mercury is like the archetype of the apprentice, and Jupiter is kind of like the archetype of the guru. And speaking of this, by the way, maybe for some of you, you're actually going to meet like a guru, a spiritual teacher that you really vibe with in 2026 that is going to help you move forward in some way, in some significant way. And yeah, with Mercury, like I said, there will be a strong emphasis on communication. Maybe you will have to communicate a lot more than usual. You might also be drawn to using your hands a lot. And I have to say, with South Node, Ketu, which is the co-ruler of Scorpio in sidereal, and Neptune, you have very sharp intuition in 2026. So it's really kind of interesting considering the fact that the rest of the tarot cards do not necessarily show a very sharp intuition. But with that Ketu energy, it is definitely a possibility. Like you could be getting very strong insights from your subconscious, maybe through your dreams. So I would recommend, because this is pretty much what I would recommend every time I get the South Node, to do things like meditate, keep a dream journal, stuff like that, you know, spend some time in thought. By the way, the Four of Cups is not just about discernment, but it's also about the thinking process, like kind of being lost in thought, philosophizing, for instance, right? So I think that for a lot of you, that could be connected to this South Node energy of like maybe coming up with, you know, new ideas, creative ideas. Again, this could be particularly relevant if you are an author, or if you want to publish something, or if you want to write something, or if you want to communicate, maybe you're a content creator, etc., right? Because of that Mercury energy. So this shows the possibility to get very strong, powerful insights from your subconscious, basically, and you should do everything in your power to make the most of this. All right. Aside from this, with the Chiron energy, there is this energy of the wounded healer, right? For those of you who come from my Vedic Astrology channel, which I call Astro Martine because it's called Astro Martine, I always associate Chiron to Satabishta Nakshatra. So, and that's a nakshatra called the Thousand Physicians to the Gods or something like that. So it's very much connected to medicine and healing. And there's this archetype of the wounded healer, right? Of a person that suffers a lot, and because of that suffering, they do everything in their power to learn how to manage their pain and to understand their pain. And in so doing, they become very knowledgeable about that particular type of wound. So you see this a lot, for instance, with people who get into psychotherapy, well, any kind of medical science, actually, right? People who have suffered from a particular ailment feel very motivated to learn to heal that ailment, right? So maybe this is kind of in a roundabout way, maybe connected to the medical field. Like for those of you who are, I don't know, thinking about getting into the medical field, or you have gotten into something related, this is just going to show that you are going to expand your knowledge more and more throughout the year, basically. And last but not least, I have to say, with that Mercury energy and that seventh house energy, again, by the way, seventh house being the house of partnership, also has to deal with any kind of one-to-one situation. So it could be things like addressing an audience, could be things like working with a psychotherapist, for instance. So this could also show that this year you would do well if you decide to go to therapy again, especially if you resonate with some of the more difficult themes that I've described in this reading. And again, on the other hand, it could show that you might actually study psychotherapy, or because you have Mercury and seventh house, you might be put in positions where you have to address an audience, for instance, right? Now, again, if you're a content creator, then you probably do that on a regular basis, but there could be situations where, I don't know, you will have to give a speech in front of a crowd or something like that at work, etc., right? So that kind of stuff could be happening. All right, this is pretty much it. Now, let's check the Astro Dice. Spirit, tell me about a pile number 3. What will the year 2026 bring for pile number 3? Oh, wow. We have the moon. Okay, so this is the subconscious and its emotions. And we have Libra, all right? So a confirmation of the 7th house. Maybe some of you have placements in Libra. Like I think I said in the beginning, because of all the 6 energy, that I think many of you have Taurus, Libra placements, strong Venus in your horoscope. All right, number 3, which again makes me think, well, number 3 can be seen as, like I said, confirmation of this number 12 here. So this could be Jupiterian energy, because number 3 is ruled by Jupiter in numerology. But it could also be associated to the 3rd house, the house of Gemini, which again corresponds to Mercury. And in Vedic astrology, the 3rd house is about independence. So that would definitely match the rest of the vibe here, in the sense that you are going to become way more independent in 2026. So less malleable, less tolerant in some ways, but mostly for the good, you know, like you're going to take a change for the good. And the number 3 also really goes hand in hand with that Chariot energy, that because if it is seen as the 3rd house energy, that is the house of the willpower, right? So this could be a year that really makes you test your willpower, like kind of also it's a year of clarity, right? Where you have to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff with respect to what it is that you really want to do, right? Like what you personally want to do, not what other people have told you that you should want, etc., right? So I really see that 3rd house energy as, yeah, like you just learning to stay true to yourself and true to your course, right? And being undeterred, basically, when it comes to your goals. But also the 3rd house, and oh, by the way, no, the 3rd house and Mercury, this is all about communication, but anatomically could also be about the hands, the arms, the shoulders. So watch out for any potential health issues connected to this. But because of the 3rd house, so again, this is further actually reinforcing the idea that you might travel. You will have opportunities for travel. In some situations, you might be forced one way or another to travel, right? Because of circumstances, because of work, for instance. But the 3rd house connects to mobility, like the Chariot. There could also be potential issues with the neighbors, right? Or you might, I don't know, meet new neighbors, or I don't know, something about neighbors. Dealings with neighbors might come to the forefront, and or younger siblings, because that's the 3rd house as well. And 7th house, again, like I said, you could actually meet a person that, you know, is going to turn out to be a long-term potential partner romantically. Or you could meet a business partner as well, because 7th house is about all kinds of partnerships. And it's also about legal matters, right? So again, it really makes sense if some people, let's say, have actually gone through a divorce. You might still be dealing with some legal matters because of that, some contracts, dealing with a lawyer, dealing with courthouses, etc., right? All of that could also be connected to the 7th house. Okay, and also with the moon, the moon again reinforces the healing thing, the south node, the intuition, but the moon is about emotions, okay? And I was actually kind of getting this vibe from the beginning, but I didn't think about talking about it. Considering the cards, I really think some of you can be emotionally repressed, or you come from a background of having been emotionally repressed for a long time, especially with that Hierophant in opposition. So the moon coming up here, right, especially as like a last touch to this reading, shows that you're really gonna let emotions, or you're gonna, you know, not that you're gonna let them consciously, but they will blow up in your face. You know, it's like a lot of emotions might be resurfacing this year. And especially since the moon has to deal with the subconscious as well in astrology, and especially mother issues, more specifically, or issues coming from the mother side of the family. This would also kind of go hand in hand with the idea that psychotherapy might be a good idea, basically. Because, yeah, you might have to process a lot of stuff that has been buried subconsciously, you know, maybe even literally issues with your mother, or issues around the idea of motherhood. That's another one. For some of you, especially if you're a woman, this could be about issues connected to female problems, you know, like hormonal imbalances or reproductive issues and stuff like that. Those could be things that you are really encouraged to work throughout the year of 2026, and you could have a significant breakthrough on, actually. All right, this is pretty much what I see for you. And oh, one last final thought is the Libra showing up again just shows that you're going to be balanced and, you know, steady, just like that Chariot, that Knight of Pentacles, just like that Fool, the Sun, and the Temperance, right? So there's like a controlled enthusiasm. Makes me think of Curb Your Enthusiasm, that show by Larry David, but not sarcastic, right? This is a positive thing. It's like slow and steady, and it's not even slow so much, it's just steady, right? So it's like confident, determined action, basically, but it's not loud, it's not boisterous, and it's the type that will not raise eyebrows, right? So you're very good at kind of blending in and seeming non-threatening, even while you're really going for your interests throughout this year. All right, so this has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe if you have. Like the video. Don't forget to click on the notifications bell if you want to be notified when I post a new reading. Feel free to comment in the comment section. Of course, any feedback you would like to share, ideas for future videos, as long as you keep them respectful. Feel free to come back to this reading throughout the year, maybe even next year, to see how it resonated. If you're interested in a private reading, check out the video description. I will leave my email address. You can email me for pricing list and other details you're curious about. I always mention this because I've had some people ask. I do not memorize your email addresses. I do not spam people. And all the information you give me is confidential, by the way. And yeah, so you shouldn't be worried that if you are just curious to find out the prices or any other details that I will continue to send emails. I don't do that, right? So another thing I wanted to say is, if you're curious, I have also left a link in the video description to reviews I've gotten for private readings. These are from some years ago when I used to do readings anonymously on a platform. And yeah, I've collected some of the reviews that I've gotten. So if you're curious to see them, check out that link in the video description. They might help you decide if you want to get a reading from me. Aside from that, if you would like to support my channel further, you can do so by becoming a member. I have kind of neglected that section, but I will be uploading some new videos in the next week to my membership section. In addition to that, of course, you can support my channel further through sharing this video with as many people as possible. Anyone that you know might be interested in tarot. Leaving a tip, of course, any amount would be much appreciated. And last but not least, I also have an astrology channel. I have mentioned it before. It's called Astro Martine. I will be linking it in the video description as well. I focus mainly on Vedic astrology there, but also with some tropical insights, since I have more than 20 years of experience of reading horoscopes, more than 10 in Vedic, and this is my preferred system because I found it to be the most accurate. So I use the sidereal zodiac with the whole sign house system, but I'm extremely familiar with the tropical theories as well. And I like to do a lot of my own research, and I like to, have a practical approach to astrology based on a lot of examples. I show a lot of horoscope, meaning natal charts and divisional charts analysis on my, in my videos. So yeah, if you're curious about it, go ahead and check out my channel, maybe subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. So thank you very much for listening. I hope to see you at my next tarot reading, and I hope you have a great 2026. Bye.